What is going on, everybody? How we doing today? Hope we're doing well as usual. Today is a Saturday, and we're doing our usual Saturday stream. A little bit earlier than the last few. I'm trying to iron out a time where I can stream on Saturdays as kind of like a fixed time. Like uh, Fridays is usually sometime around 9 p.m. Although things have been getting in the way of me being able to do that for the last like month or so. I'm gonna make sure that whatever I have to do on Fridays is well before 9 p.m. I'm gonna make sure I can actually stream at 9 instead of 10 or 11 or something like that. And then of course the Sundays was always at 5 p.m. Now Saturdays is a little bit more open-ended. I'd like to do it a little bit earlier in the day if I can, but there will be days where we do it a little bit later. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. But what is going on? Actually, one moment. Just gotta do something real quick. Yes. What is going on, Neon? What is going on, Zachary? What is going on, Gordon St. Clair Squigglestein? How we all doing today? Thank you very much, Zach, for the the message. I appreciate that as usual. Um, has anyone ever played 7 Days to Die? No, I have not played 7 Days to Die. I feel like I've heard of it, but I've only heard of it. I haven't actually like heard about it. Like I don't know what the deal with it is. The whole thing. What is going on? Smart Moron, gay guy as well. 7 Days is cool, but I can never really get into it. Felt a little flat. Yeah, I mean that's something I guess I could check out at some point. I'm like we have a little bit over a month until Halloween, and I need a Halloween stream. Halloween, I believe, is actually going to be on a Friday this year. So it would be a usual stream for me anyway. And if not, it's going to be a Saturday, I'm pretty sure. So we're gonna do our Halloween stream, and I think it's gonna be a good time. But I need ideas for what exactly we're gonna be doing. I don't have anything like huge in my head right now. I was taking a shit before I came here, and I figured, hey, maybe we could take a look at some like messed up games, not even just horror games, but like messed up games. Like that game where you play through the assassination of Kennedy. I was wondering like, maybe I could play that on stream on like a Halloween. I feel like it may not be like a ooh spooky kind of stream, but it might. I guess it kind of sort of fits the theme a little bit. It's kind of an inversion of what you would typically do. And then I was thinking of other games I could play. There's this Flash game that lets you play through the Newtown thing. You remember it's been about 12 or 13 years since that happened. The shooting at Newtown. It's supposed to be like an anti-gun or like an anti-shooting thing, but it suffers from that thing that happens, right? Like I talk about this guy, Neon. You used to know this guy. This is part of the reason why we stopped talking to him. Um, there was this guy we knew. He was an all right dude, but he was definitely Audi, and he was one of those guys who was like, he thought as long as jokes were edgy and offensive, that they were funny automatically. And like sometimes he'd be funny, a lot of the time he'd just be annoying. But then one day he creates a not a YouTube, a Discord server, and the reason why he did this is because he was streaming on Twitch. And my understanding is that he was actually kind of starting to get a bit of an audience. He was doing better than I was apparently, better than I am right now. I got a whole 8 viewers on YouTube right now. So but like people would hang out in his server, and apparently there was this like 15 or 16-year-old girl, and he was like, "Oh, you shouldn't be in here, but it's okay as long as you behave." Haha. And he started calling her kitten and shit like that. And we just immediately were like, "What the fuck?" And I think what was going through his head was, "Haha, dude, I'm totally calling this underage girl kitten because that's what a creep would do." And haha, wow, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Haha, I'm pretending to hit on an underage girl for the meme. And it's like, no, dude, you're just like, even if you don't mean it, you're still doing inappropriate things on the internet with somebody who is not of age. Like, we gotta do that from you now, because even though we don't think there's actually anything going on, that's just too fucking much. And what happens is like you get this thing with dudes like that, and that game that I'm talking about, the Adam Lanza game is what we'll call it, the Adam Lanza game. Even if it's like, oh hey, this is an anti-school shooting thing, it's like no, you still created a game where you get to walk through a school with an AR or some kind of pistol and shoot what are supposed to be the representations of children. That is not that is it doesn't matter that you try and fucking do a 180, right? That 180 turns into a 360. It's like what the fuck are you doing, man? You know, you're talking about like 30 people we've known. Well, I mean this one in particular was he was the pagan dude. You remember the pagan? Um, but yeah, anyway. I've been playing Fortnite Delulu all day, says Zachary. I've never played Fortnite ever. Maybe that's something we could do, but I don't feel like that would be a great one because I know Fortnite is gonna have a Halloween event, just like every game does now. Any online anything is gonna have a Halloween, a Christmas, sometimes even an Easter event. And because of that, I don't know, maybe we play Fortnite for the first time and we play the Halloween event. But even then, it's like, if it's going to be a Halloween stream, I don't want it to just be a quick 2 hour and done stream, especially if it's going to be a Friday night stream. I'm going to have the time and the energy to be able to last, right? I'm gonna pop a Viagra and I'm gonna last extra long. And 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours of Fortnite is like, nah, I'm all set. Thanks. I think I'm all good with that. Thank you very much. Um, Manhunt. Ooh, Manhunt would be a good one. I played Manhunt once back in 2020. It was a very good game. I've wanted to play Manhunt 2 for a while. My understanding is that Manhunt 2 is a little bit subpar compared to the first. But I don't know exactly where to find it, and I don't like torrenting things. I don't like emulating things because I'm a fucking idiot when it comes to anything like technology or computers. So because of that, I always either do it wrong or I just fuck something up and it doesn't work, you know? But yeah, I don't know if Manhunt 1, if the original Manhunt is on Steam, maybe I can download that and we can play through it, you know? Last year I played through Faith the Unholy Trinity. It was a good game. I liked it. I don't feel a need to play it again, even though I know that there's a bunch of different endings you can get and stuff like that. It's just it was kind of like one and done for me, and I was fine. I'm good, you know. Excuse me, but maybe Manhunt, because Manhunt, I'd have to play it on easy mode if I was gonna try and finish it in one day. That would be for sure, and it would be a very very long stream. It might be an all night stream. Like we might be doing an all nighter stream, all things considered. Um, Mortis, yeah. Scott is chilling. Greg is chilling. What more can I say? Top billing. What's going on, Hidalgo? Thanks for popping in, my friend. What was I gonna say? Well, I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just looking around. I've been playing it lately, and it's ruining my life. I got on to play at around 12 in the afternoon, and by the time I exited the game, it was 3 a.m. Dude, that was me with AOE for a while, and that's why I don't play it like that anymore. Last time I played, me and Taylor and some friends that, I'll say friends of ours, but really it's more friends of Taylor's, but like I am cool with these guys. We played like earlier this week and then I haven't touched it since. I actually haven't played much video games lately because I've been watching The Sopranos. I like The Sopranos. It's a good series. I'm on season 3 now. I started it earlier this week, but I got to be honest with you, I was expecting a lot more. Maybe it gets better in the second half, and it's not bad now, but I expected a lot more. I expected it to be more riveting right away. I remember watching the first 2 episodes like a month ago, because I tried to use a website to watch it, and it was just like I didn't give a fuck. And I forced myself when I watched it the second time. I forced myself to like sit there and really give it a chance And I do notice some genius in there. There is definitely some genius in there. But I'm like, well, uh, uh, But hey, I gotta give it the whole. I gotta give it the whole thing. I think Breaking Bad, as of right now, I think Breaking Bad was better. I gotta be real with you. I'm enjoying it. I've been watching it pretty much all week. Like I said, I haven't even been playing video games like that because I'd rather be sitting with the wife watching it. Um, but yeah, Anyway, is the Manhunt PC version any good? I remember I got Resident Evil on Steam and the port was so bad. I played the PS4 port of Manhunt. It was on, I believe it was free. Um, I got that and I got The Last of Us. The Last of Us, like, game of the year. No. It was like a remaster or something like that. But yeah, I got that and I got The Last of Us, I'm pretty sure for free back in like 2020. And they were both very good. I, even though I don't play The Last of Us anymore and I don't care to play it necessarily, I have some really good memories with it because there was like a lot of stuff happened from 2019 to like 2020, 2021. It was just a nice time in my life. I just enjoyed it. I like I had my first fight in what was like 5 years. That was the fight that everybody finds on the internet and stuff like that. The one with the kickboxing match that I fucked my knee up. Um, I mean, I was happy to have that fight, and even though I lost because of the injury, like I still did very well, and I was satisfied. Um, I started going on dates again because I was an idiot. I went to Western New York for the first time. I started going on dates again. I would meet my wife after I started going on dates again. It was just nice. It was cozy. It was a cozy time. My place burned down. I had to move back into my parents' house. That was Rent became a lot cheaper than it was for me. Um, but yeah, it was like I said, it was cozy. COVID hit, and because of that, instead of having to worry about two jobs, I only had to worry about one job. I didn't even have two jobs at that time. I wasn't even teaching at the level that I was. Like I don't need a trauma dump. I don't need a trauma dump on you guys. But bottom line, when I look back about 5 years ago, for one thing, I can't believe it's been 5 years, right? But then for another thing, there was just a lot of nice things, a lot of fun things going on. And I feel that that was like the last like year or so of what I would consider to be some of the best years of my life, from like 2017 to 2021 or so. Um, excuse me. Those were very formative years for me. They were very fun years. They were they were just good. They were just good for a couple of different reasons. Um, Breaking Bad is one of the few shows without plot holes that continues to get better throughout the series. Yeah, I agree. Sam said something about it once, and I kind of agree too. Like Breaking Bad is definitely almost like torture porn in a way. Like there's certain things that happen in that show that, like, when I saw it I was just like, did they have to go that route? Did they have to go that way? I think Sam said something like it's just an experiment to see how low you can go on television. And I understand what he's saying. Like there's a point where there's a very realistic looking murder from Fring. I always forget it. Gustavo Fring, right? Where, like, just for almost no reason at all, just to make a point, he cuts somebody's jugular vein, right? He just with a fucking with a razor, a safety razor or whatever. And like the way that's played is like so realistic. And I was just like, why the fuck would they show this on TV? What the, like, that was kind of fucked up. you know or the scene where Jesse Pinkman, he meets that chick, and like the white supremacists murder her in front of him. It's like, you know I don't need to feel like I'm on Live League. I don't and this is one of the things, even, and I'm saying this even though I actually loved the hell out of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Um that's something that I kind of dislike. I despise it about the degradation of our culture, is that the internet has really fucked us up to the point where if you want to be cutting edge, if you want to be exciting, if you want to be shocking or anything like that, you basically have to be able to recreate something you saw on Live Leak or Best Gore or like some other shock site where like some cartel is like, haha, we captured one of our enemies where and we tortured him until he told us where he lives. We're gonna fucking throw him in the car and we're gonna go and we're gonna shoot his wife in front of him and we're gonna get his reaction on tape, haha, and then we're gonna put it on the internet because that's power, you know. It's like the cruelty of it, you know. You're seeing cruelty on a level that you didn't used to see on TV with Breaking Bad, you know. And it's just like, man, I got to be honest with you. I'm not interested in seeing that, you know. As somebody who has never been to war, but is still pretty familiar with the concept of violence and like, just I get it on a level that the average person does not. Like, I don't necessarily want to see it all the time. I'm not interested in that, you know. And I think that's kind of like people live vicariously through videos and TV shows and stuff like that. And I'm not saying they put themselves in the shoes of Fring or the white supremacists or anything like that. That's not even what I'm saying. But like there's a fascination with gore in that way. There's a fascination with that sort of violence where like since they live peaceful and safe lives and the last fight they got into was in middle school with like fucking some guy that was trying to like mess with them and they were like, we're gonna go behind the school, we're gonna go to the baseball field, we're gonna go to the train tracks. I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. Damn. I think I don't like, I think that's why, is because there's a lot of people who live very safe lives that have never had to worry about like that level of violence, and because of that they almost wonder about it. There's a fascination with it. There's a thought of like, hey, would I be able to survive in that environment, or I wonder what that environment is like, or could I do that to somebody, or there's some level of just, I want to see it because of X, Y, and Z, you know. And it's just like, man, I'm all set. I'm fucking all set, you know. Um, Yo, Scott, I'm watching you with my Polish GF, Anya. She is an excellent woman. Please tell her that she is a good woman. You're a great woman, Anya. You're a great woman. Rusty's a cool guy. All right. I paused my game to go on a date with you. Oh boy. Um, Breaking Bad is one of the. I already read that one. This is important. Said that. No way. Sopranos is way better. Breaking Bad is like a Dar Man sketch compared to Sopranos. I mean, there's a lot of things about The Sopranos that I do appreciate. There's a lot of subtlety. There's a lot of moments where, um, there's a lot of moments where if you're not paying attention, you won't understand why something else happened later down the line. And because of that, like I get it. I get the genius. It's just not as fun of a watch for me right now. I can't seem to look away. Like I said, it's cutting into my video game time. All right, I paused my game. I paused my game to watch some Sopranos. All right, but it's just like mm, uh, you know, you know, you know, you know. Um, Sorry, just looking around, trying to. The first three seasons are better than the latter three IMO. Okay. I don't know. Maybe the best days are behind me when it comes to The Sopranos. Um, Sorry, just looking around. So I tried to stream last night. Oh, hold on. I like that episode of The Sopranos in season one where Tony, despite being a big fat guy, sneaks up on the guy like he's Solid Snake. Yeah, plot armor for guys is funny. Like how Adam Sandler is always the coolest dude in the movie. He's always like shooting baskets on people and shit like that. Kevin James is always getting with like a hot chick, the hot chick of the movie. Um, like that, like Steven Seagal tier. Like there's a 22-year-old dude on steroids who's got guns, and yet Seagal's still able to like do anything about that. Like that shit's always funny. Oh, excuse me. Anya loves all you, says Rusty Corvine, and we love Anya. We love Anya. Um, but yeah, so last night I streamed, but I privated the stream because honestly, it was just like a dog shit stream. And a dog shit to a level that it was not supposed to be. What it was meant to be was a deep dive into the Symbionese Liberation Army, which is a left-wing terror organization. I guess I guess the feds considered it to be the first left-wing terror organization, but that's not the truth. There were plenty others before them. Um, but we were supposed to do a deep dive into them, and I fucked up the deep dive because I was a little bit drunk, and because of that I didn't exactly go about it in the order that I should have gone about it in. And then even before that, I wasted 30 minutes on an IQ test that I thought would be entertaining, but it was not. I figured that it would not be a playing with blocks kind of IQ test, but it was. And because of that, it was just like grueling and annoying. And I tried with it, but again, I was drinking. So like as the thing kept going and going, I'm just sitting here getting more drunk. My wife gives me a glass that's this tall, filled halfway with just liquor, no mixer, no mixer. So she gives me basically that much liquor with nothing to mix, and I'm just sitting here like sip, sip, sip. She tells me it's a weak liquor, but I'm getting drunk like 5 minutes into taking a few sips of it, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on here? But yeah, so I apologize for last night if you happen to be at that stream. I took it down because it was just like I did not like it. It's one thing having a bad stream and it's like, oh well, it was a bad stream, they can't all be zingers, whatever, who cares? That's one thing. But it's something completely different when you're like, wow, I am almost ashamed of how bad this stream went. It was so boring, so grueling, so stupid. So if you're wondering where the stream went from last night, that's where it went. It's private now. Um, so I apologize for that. Maybe we'll do the IQ test one day and I'll really buckle down. I'll be prepared for an actual like pattern recognition IQ test as opposed to what I thought it would be, which, okay, maybe there's some pattern recognition, but also it's going to go into like questions of logic, maybe some math or something like that. There was a little bit of math in the pattern recognition, but you get the idea. What was I going to say? Yeah, maybe I'll do that one day. And then also at a later point, we're going to actually dive into the SLA because there is some really good shit on them out there. We found one of their manuals, not like training manual or anything like that, but we found one of their we found one of their like manifestos. There's a manifesto of theirs online, and it was prime schizo shit. And I'm being informed that their leader, Donald DeFreeze, otherwise known as Sin Q, may have been may have been anal. He may have been an intelligence asset, I guess, is what some people were saying. Although, here's the thing, right? I could believe that there were intelligence assets in the left wing way back then. I could believe that. But I don't know that I believe it for that specifically. I think that's a very convenient excuse that a left winger would use if they were having an argument with you about which side commits more terror and more extreme forms of terror, and you said the Symbionese Liberation Army. They would turn around and be like, well, actually, that was a Fed op, is what it was. So, the And everybody knows the U.S. is a fascist state, so that means the SLA was actually right wing. Like, it's a little bit too convenient for me, but I don't know. Maybe there's more information out there. Maybe there's a little bit more information out there. You know, we can look into that later, next time. You know, you're not allowed to notice patterns. Yeah, that's how you get debanked. If you start noticing patterns, get into a bit of trouble there. A little bit of trouble. You could do one of those CIA tests to see if you have enough sense to be an agent. Oh, that would be fun. That'd be fun. Where do you find those, Gordon? Where do you find them? Because I'm curious about that. You know, maybe I can get on that payroll. Somebody texted. Okay. Uh, I love Sopranos, but Italian Americans are cringe. Oh, hey, you pukiak. That's when I've been annoying the fuck out of my wife every 5 minutes. What specifically when we're watching The Sopranos, because that's when I think about it. I'm just sitting here and I'll just be like, oh. She'll ask me like, baby, can you get me a water? I'll be like, oh, hey, get it yourself. Get your own fucking water. You know, um, yeah. I mean, like the thing about The Sopranos is that they were meant to be they were meant to be a they were meant to be a not flanderization but a parody. They were meant to be a parody of like of wops, you know, is what they were supposed to be. Like if you see modern day Italians, they dress like they're black a lot of the time. Like they're like modern, not obviously not all modern day Italians. What I mean is like those, hey, I'm FBI, full blooded Italian, like those types. Like they dress like they're black. They're wiggers a lot of the time, but they're like 2008 tap out shirt wearing wigger dudes. You know, that's just how those like Goomba Italians are today. Like the old school true Guinea, it like tracksuit, wearing a suit to like a hit type of Italian. They like that's not a thing like that anymore. You know, if you are gonna have like some Italian dude that wants to be a gangster, usually he's just gonna dress like he comes from fucking Compton. You know, but yeah, like I think Irish and Italians are like I think they try a little too hard to be something that they're not. Like you see the same thing with Irish dudes from like Brockton, Mass. Is like they're wiggers a lot of the time. You know, they dress up with the flat brim cap, even though nobody wears those anymore. They have the soul patch. You know, I can literally picture a guy that I know, and he's just one of many different dudes that I know. They think the Dropkick Murphys are the best band ever, but they also like Eminem because you know dude, hey, I love rap, bro. Haha, I like Eminem. Like, though that kind of fucking guy, like the Boston Irish schmuck type of dude, they want to be black because, and again, this is a product of the colonization. Not, it's a chill stream, so we talk about whatever we want, but not to make it too heavy, right? This is the product of the colonization of our minds by the powers that be. Instead of embracing our actual cultures and understanding what they are, understanding what they mean, and understanding how we should conduct ourselves, what we do instead is we try to pretend like we're Irish, but then we also embrace like African American culture. And the reason why that happens is because we have been taught that anything white is not just bad, it's not just colonizer bullshit, but it's pussy shit. It's unoriginal, it's not creative, it is it's seasonless. It's seasonless. Them white people don't season a chicken. And because of that, when I didn't even break up with her. She broke up with me. The last girlfriend that I had, she broke up with me and she started dating one of those wigger dudes. Again, like an Irish dude who flat brim cap, soul patch, or whatever this is, goatee, right? Um, when he hits me up to try and talk shit, he's like, "Yo, you still talking to Shorty?" He literally says that, you know? That is the colonization of the mind of a young white man, is what it is. It just is, it is what it is. And the reason why is because whiteness in general, which includes Ireland, Italy, etc., it's been demonized to the point where if somebody wants to feel like they can take pride in their culture, they want to feel like they can feel as though they come from a warrior culture, because Italy is a warrior culture. Ancient Rome specifically, but Ireland is a warrior culture. If they want to feel like they come from one of those, well, they have to infuse it with like grape drink. They gotta pour a little bit of lean on top of it. They gotta start listening to Eminem and then like whatever rappers they want to listen to. They gotta start talking like fucking like they're from the ghetto and stuff like that. They can't just be themselves. They gotta be black, or really Irish pretending to be black, Italian pretending to be black. And it's a really like disgusting weird thing, and it sucks because, excuse me, like and this is something that I especially see with Irish culture. Irish culture, Irish heritage in America especially, this is why they call us plastic patties in the first place, is like steampunk. I posted this on my fucking, I'll show you guys my Insta story. Um uh um right, this is my Insta story. Of course, you can't really see it very well, right? You see that dude, he's dressed in a tartan, right? He's got the kilt and it's got the plaid in it, right? He's got like, you can't really see him all that well, but he's got that like two piece, like the dress shirt and the vest, and he's got the bowler type hat, whatever you would call that. You couldn't see it, but he had woad right here too, which I don't believe the Irish actually used woad. I think that might be a Scottish thing. I could be wrong, right? If you don't know what woad is, woad is if you watched Braveheart, right, when he had the blue on his face, woad was used as like a mystical, magical thing. It protected the warrior and stuff like that. Maybe the Irish used it a little bit. Maybe I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I've only ever seen it depicted with Scots. With the Picts and stuff like that. And in this case, you have a chick who, like, again, I know, I apologize, you can't really see it very well, but slightly overweight. You can't really see it very well, but she doesn't exactly look of European stock. She looks like she could be some kind of Pacific Islander, or like some sort of maybe she's got like some black in her or some Hispanic, not Spanish, but just Hispanic in her. She's got like painted on tattoos and stuff like that. She's supposed to be like the Celtic shield maiden. It's become Reddit steampunk bullshit is what it became. And maybe that's part of the reason why, especially the Irish, they're kind of like, I don't want to be that bullshit. I don't, I don't, I don't want to be that bullshit. I'm getting the fuck out of here. And they end up, as Neon said, they drifted into that culture. They drifted into wannabe blackism because I think the men drift into those subcultures because their cultures have been feminized. Exactly. It's like, fuck, man, what is going on here, dude? you know like you can't just be proud of being Irish. You either have to be a self-effacing like bullshit fucking idiot, um like in either direction, where either A, you're a wigger, or B, you're fucking steampunk, r slash Ireland punk, r slash Celtic punk, is what you are. R slash Italo punk. It's frustrating and it's annoying to see because I can't talk to fucking anybody. I found this group of wannabe patties in New England, right? And I was like, oh, interesting. These guys apparently they're like a pro Irish heritage group, and fucking I hit this guy up and I'm like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? So what's this thing you got going on here? Oh, excuse me. Jeez. He tells me a little bit about it, and I'm like, oh, cool, interesting. And he's like, yeah, have you ever been to the Black Rose on Roche Douve? Fucking, he says it that way, which like I believe that's how you say. I believe that's how you say those words in Irish. I could be wrong. Um, and I was like, nah, why? And he's like, oh, dude, it's a really good Irish bar. They played Come Out Ye Black and Tans once. And I was just like, oh boy. Oh boy, okay. All right. It's like, don't get me wrong, I like that song too. There's a lot of other songs out there though. There's a lot of other Irish music out there. And it's just like it's like, man, there's nobody to talk to. I couldn't even talk to the Irish about it because I'm gonna make a fool of myself. I would definitely make a fool of myself if I tried to talk to the Irish about it. Um, so it's like, man, that sucks. That's annoying. Um, what about Jewish pretending to be black? That's a big thing too. A lot of Jews pretend to be black. A lot of Jews love to pretend to be black. 100%. I'm Italian and I can confirm that I stay poloed out when I'm eating 8,000 calories worth of carbs and pasta sauce. Excuse me, jeez. Um, and that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Fucking I can literally picture this guy. I know, brag about it. Why don't you? Oh man, his brain is blacked. That's a good way to put it, Jenkem Alchemist. His brain is blacked. A lot of people's brains are blacked, where they're like, oh well, I mean, I wanna feel like I'm making the right choice. I wanna feel like the right answer has been selected by me. So even though I can't actually be black, I can pretend like I am black by being Irish, but like not actually understanding or appreciating any Irish heritage or culture or anything like that. Instead, just being like, yeah, dude, I'm full-blooded fucking Irish, dude. Hell yeah, dude. You ever hear the Dropkick Murphys? Dude, you fucking kidding me? Hey, did you just say something racist? Yeah, you better not have. Like that type of shit. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You know? It's like, holy shit, dude. I had a Jewish bully in high school. He took my lunch money, then charged me interest on it. Oh, man. Poor guy. Legend has it, to this day, Smart Moron is still paying back a 95% interest loan. Sorry, just looking around here. Just looking around. Got to build new culture that draws in young men back to their own traditions. Exactly, and like it sucks because the unfortunate excuse me, the unfortunate reality is that like um culture and tradition is not always meant to be fun. It's not always meant to feel like a party or anything like that. And it doesn't have to be exciting in the way that you're used to. Me personally, I get excited by Irish music, and for a long time I didn't. But as I matured, and as I opened up my mind, and as I expanded my palette specifically with music, um, I started to appreciate Irish music. When I was growing up, it was all metal all the time. Then eventually I started to appreciate rap a little bit, right? But that's all it was. It's just metal and rap. If you threw on anything else, my brain immediately shut off. And I just was like not interested. But I listen to like so many different kinds of music now. Um, but like when it comes to cultures and traditions and stuff like that, there's a lot of people that if I threw on some of these songs, they'd just be like, nah, not interested. And it's like, yeah, but this is part of your heritage. This is part of your culture, you know? Or if I like there's people who if I tried to explain some aspect of Irish or Italian culture, they'd be like, oh yeah, like they glaze over. When you're trying to explain something to someone makes the mistake of signaling to you that they're interested in a topic that you know a lot about. And instead of them being actually interested in the topic, they were just using that topic as a method of feeling like they were superior to somebody else, like they knew something that you didn't. There was a factoid that they knew, or something like that, and because of that, they threw that out there, and now you're trying to talk to them about that topic, and they're just like, oh yeah, oh wow, hmm, cool, like that type of shit, you know. There's too many people out there who are like that, and it's like, how do you even do anything about it, you know? How do you create a new culture while also not throwing out the old culture? Because really, like, if you're creating, like you could argue that the culture that has been created by these Wigger Irish and Wigger Italians, that's not a good culture, that's not a healthy culture, and that's not Irish or Italian culture in any way, shape, or form. So it's like, these people are proud to be Irish apparently, but they're not Irish. And we're all Americans here. We're never going to be like Irish, but you understand what I mean when I say that, right? I mean heritage, diaspora, however you say that word. But how do you create a new culture while not throwing out the old culture that is repellent to these people who are just too fucking stupid to care and understand, you know? Because I was like that for a long time. And then one day, I'll be honest with you, I got a little annoyed. An old friend of mine, again, Neon, you know him. He was a French Canadian, and he was LARPing one day. Like, he used to LARP like he was a French Canadian, because he was descended from the Arcadians. And like one day he started trying to tell me about Irish heritage, and I was like, I got upset a little bit. I got annoyed. I was like, why the fuck is he telling me, dude? My last name's Sullivan. He's got some dumb fucking French last name. I'm a Sullivan, dude. He shouldn't be telling me anything, dude. So because of that, almost out of spite, I was like, nah, fuck it. I'm gonna listen to some music. I'm gonna look into everything, and now here I am. Fucking, I'm like, I've come such a long way because of that, you know? Um a lot of people just will not have a moment like that. They'll just be like, "Yeah, dude, I'm fucking Irish. You ever listen to Eminem?" You know? If you threw on Oro Shedovaha Walia, right? If you threw that on, they'd be like, "What the fuck is this shit, dude? I don't want to hear this." Fucking throw on some, dude. Have you ever heard Macklemore? Dude, have you ever listen to fucking Macklemore, dude? He's got this song about being Irish, dude. It comes on right after the song about being gay, you know? Bill Burr, dude, he's from Boston. He must be Irish. It's like, fuck, man. So it's like, I think it's a little bit of both. I think, like, you gotta rope people in. I feel like you got to rope people in with the stuff that they're going to find exciting, whatever that is, and then you have to slowly introduce the things that they may not be that interested in. And either A, they'll accept it, or B, they will they will learn to like it, you know? Like, I find clans to be interesting, you know? I find it interesting that the O'Neills were that was the High King. That was the line of High Kings in Ireland, right? And then Brian Boru came, and he was High King for a while, and then his brother took over or something like that. And I forget exactly what happened after that, right? I haven't looked too deeply into specifically like Brian Boru and what came after he fought the Vikings and stuff like that. But like that's just the point of what I'm saying, is like, there's so much history that, like, if I tried to explain, if I pulled a Wigger off the street and I tried to explain to him, like, oh, did you know that the Irish weren't just colonized by the British? It was also the Vikings too, and that a lot of Irish last names are Viking in nature, like MacGregor, for instance. That's a Viking last name. Dublin, Limerick. There's been a few others as well. Those are cities that were set up by the Vikings as trade ports. Like, if I tried to explain that to them, they'd, oh, really? Wow. You like that Irish shit. Have you ever heard of the Dropkick Murphys, dude? Hey, you ever hear of Flogging Molly? That's like the most esoteric Irish music they listen to. Or if they're like a level 2 hibernaboo, if you want to call it that, a hibernaboo. If they're a level 2 hibernaboo, they'll be like, dude, have you ever heard "Come Out You Black and Tans"? You know, the first time I heard "Oroshid of Aha Walia," I listened to it almost jokingly. I was like at work listening to it. And the thing about work is that, like, there's two things I want to do. One, I want to be left alone, and two, I want my brain to be on autopilot. I want my brain to just be on like low light battery saver mode. I don't want to have to think too much. And sometimes what'll help is if like I can just kind of like zone out on something that I think is fun or funny. So like I would sit there listening to that song and I would almost laugh about it. I didn't understand what it was. I didn't understand what it meant, anything like that, you know? Um oh, excuse me. Like you gotta like it's just tough knowing what to do, you know? We've we've degraded so far. Degraded, we've degraded so far. And I think probably the only thing we could do is wait for the younger generations who are sick of the only two options being pretend to be black or like whiny crying baby shit, because for years those were the only options. Was you can either pretend like you're black, you can be a wigger, or you can be like whiny baby music, whiny baby aesthetic, whiny baby subculture, you know, emo. Oh, dude, emo. Nobody understands me, dude. But I love her so much, and she doesn't even care about me. She's got a boyfriend. I'm gonna write a song about it. I'm gonna call myself Tame Impala. I'm gonna write a song about it. Oh man, she's got a boyfriend. Oh man, like like that shit. You know, it can't just be those two. And you're seeing what I do feel like is kind of a renaissance of just like the like honestly kind of the 1980s yuppie guy, the 1980s frat bro yuppie guy, and I think that's a good thing overall. I think it's a really good thing, truthfully. And I think something that needs to be injected into that is a pride in one's ethnicity and heritage, you know? It's impossible for you to organize if you're white, meaning like you can't have a group that's like white boys for liberty. You can't have that. You're gonna get listed by the ADL immediately. But one thing that you can do that's really hard for anybody to do anything about is, instead of it being broad European, you can make Irish for liberty, Italian for liberty, Polish for liberty, etc., etc. There's so many different ethnicities that if you had a hive of them in your city or town or just state, you could form a social club based around that, and you could operate on friendly terms with all the other social clubs that are created. So the Italians and the Irish dudes can get together and they can practice some MMA. And it's going to be really, really fucking hard for anybody to be like, but that's white supremacy. Who said anything about white? Nobody did. It's just some Irish dudes and some Italian dudes who have a social club that thought it might be a good idea to get together and run a joint little fucking thing so that everybody can just be pals and everybody can have a good time and stuff like that, you know? And that's something that, like, if I was to get back into organizing, I'd probably do it that way, you know? I'd probably form like an Irish, or because people don't realize I'm also Italian. It'd definitely be weird if I was trying to front the Italians, the Italian faction, but like, um, I could form up with a bunch of fucking Dagos. You know, me and my Dago bros, just hanging out, doing some MMA, listening to some Italian music that doesn't suck. That's one thing. When it comes to Italian music, I'm not a big fan of Italian music. A lot of it sounds almost exactly just like fucking pizza time music to me. You know, I'm not a big fan of it. But um Polish Anya wishes the best for everyone in the Scott chat. Thank you very much, Anya. I appreciate that. I wish the best for you too, as well as Rusty. I hope you guys. Assuming yo Scott, can you sing "Come Out You Black and Tans" for the stream? Let me see here. Let me see here. I used to have a thing. Yeah. Oh, that's $100 to sing a song. Sorry. There's got to be a there's got to be a little something to sweeten the pot for me, because I'll be honest with you, I like singing. I don't have the worst singing voice you've ever heard, but I don't have a good singing voice. And if I'm gonna embarrass myself, I'm not gonna do it for free. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Hey, Moulignan. Hey, them Moulignans, them Ditzoons. Oh, them Moulignans. Oh, fuck. I forget exactly what Chris said to Meadow when she wanted to get some speed. I forget exactly what she said. Would the Gaylords from Chicago be the closest thing to a multi-ethnic white group like you were describing? Well, yeah, but the Gaylords were literally just a street gang. You know, they weren't there. There was no. It's like the Aryan Brotherhood. You know, excuse me. A lot of people think the Aryan Brotherhood is some kind of like pro-white like activist group or something like that, and it's like no, they were founded by a Jewish guy, for one thing. But like on top of that, it's really just an alliance of convenience between white people in a prison system, specifically prison systems where white people are the minority and the black gangs run roughshod. You know, that's why the Aryan Brotherhood formed. They didn't form because they were like, you know what, our rights are being taken away, and I'm tired of being called racist and all this. No, that's not why they formed. They formed because they're criminals who wanted to protect themselves from other criminals while they do their own criminal shit. That's all it was. And that's what the Gaylords were. You know, maybe there was some level of like, oh, hey, I noticed with this integration shit, there's more black people moving into the neighborhood and we're having ethnic clashes between us and the blacks. Maybe we should form up. Maybe there was some, excuse me, maybe there was some level of that, but there was no self-affirming or validating aspect to the Gaylords or the Simon City Royals or anybody else like that, any white gangs. It was literally just, hey, we're protecting our turf because, like, if anyone's going to do crime here, it's going to be the people who live here. That's all that was. You know, that's all that is. I gave you good it music. I've been listening to some of that music when I work out actually lately. Shane Gillis is just following his handler's advice. Wouldn't be a good look for him. What are you talking about, gay guy? I know you were. Oh yeah, based Shane Gillis not taking the Saudi money. That's very, very hard to do. What, like, yeah, I saw that. What's going on with that, with the whole Shane Gillis thing? What's the deal with that? Why, like, why were the Saudis offering him money, and why was it a huge deal that he wasn't taking it? I think it's always a good thing to not take Saudi money, because the thing with Muslims, and it's like this with a lot of other groups of people, but Muslims are very heavy-handed with it. They're very out in the open with it compared to a lot of the other groups of people that are out there. Um, there is always some kind of, hey, we're giving you this money. Why don't you do this though, to aggrandize, to make grandiose claims about Islam? You know, like, I saw, this is why I talk about it all the time. This is why I'm skeptical of the Saudis' money and involvement in the combat sports world. You are 1,000,000% gonna see. In fact, we saw it on the Canelo Crawford card, which was like a week or two ago. I actually enjoyed that card. It was nice to watch some boxing again. I kind of look forward to that. I'm not gonna lie. If there's any other good fights, we'll go ahead and we'll do that. But one of the fighters on that card was a Muslim dude who was from, I think, Saudi Arabia. Of course, he was living in fucking England now, but he was a Muslim nonetheless. They gave him a guy that he was supposed to easily beat, and sure enough, he easily beat that guy. You're going to start seeing so so much of that. Over the next 5 years, you're going to see a crazy amount of Muslims being given dudes that were born with Down syndrome, and the Muslim dude is beating the fuck out of them. Muslims given dudes who are 50 years old, who are taking a paycheck, and the Muslim dude is beating the fuck out of them. You are going to start seeing that kind of thing, because that's what the Saudis do. That's what Muslims do. If they don't have the money, they'll find other ways to try and force you into accepting them and giving them some kind of hegemony. But when they have the money, they'll just pay you. They'll just throw money at the cause. And that's what the Saudis, the Emiratis, that's what they all do, you know? And there was another great example of this. I posted about it on Twitter, where I saw a video a few weeks back where there was a guy who was writing books about the Viking Age, and he was contacted by some rich Muslims who said, "Hey, we want to give you a check for hundreds of thousands of dollars. We want to fund your books. And since we're funding your books, we're doing you this big favor. Maybe you could talk about the Muslims that were also Vikings." Is like literally they were trying to pull that fucking bullshit. There were never any Muslim Vikings. There were never any black Vikings. Did not happen. Any women as well that were shield maidens? No. They were not shield maidens. That is bullshit. They did not do the fighting. Did not happen. If they did, they got killed. That's just the way it happened. Just the way it worked. But especially something like that though, like, hey, here's a check for $150,000. By the way, could you talk about the Viking Ahmed bin Goatfuck? Ahmed bin Goatfuck, a great Viking leader who totally existed. Could you write some stuff about him? Make it good stuff? Like, that's the shit that they do. So when I hear Shane Gillis didn't take money from some Middle Eastern oil barons, I think, good. Fantastic, great, I love that. Even if it is like somebody said, like Gay Guy said, Shane Gillis is just following his handler's advice. All right, cool. The handler's got something right. A stop clock is right twice a day. You know, fucking. I'm glad he didn't take that money. You know, so it wouldn't surprise me if, like, because I did see Bill Burr and some other rock star tier comedians did take the money, and they were going to do some jokes in Saudi Arabia and stuff like that. I'm sure the jokes are gonna be very Muslim friendly, you know. No, fucking Bill Burr on stage. I mean, Christianity fucking sucks, dude. It just does. Fucking, I can't stand that Jesus guy. I could easily do a really good Bill Burr. I just have to practice a little bit. If I practice just a little bit, my Bill Burr would be fucking spectacular. And it's just because he has a certain kind of Boston accent, you know? It's an accent you don't see that much anymore, but it's like in his generation, it is like the accent. Bill Burka, holy fuck, smart moron. If any rich Arab wants to donate to the stream, we will change our views. DMs open. We will. Fucking, I get a notification. I get a notification for like 100,000, and I'm just like, so yeah, Muhammad's great. Muhammad's really cool. I did watch Tony versus Bert once a week for how funny it is. Yeah, that was really bad. There's a big comedy show in Saudi Arabia. A lot of big name comedians sold out for Saudi money. Okay. Yeah. Louis C.K. and Kevin Hart, for example, have took the deal. Well, yeah, Louis C.K. always straddled, where it's like he always had one foot in the corpo side and then one foot out of the corpo side, and that's why he's cool with palling around with someone like Shane Gillis and stuff like that, you know. But like someone like Kevin Hart is just like, that dude has been a sellout since like 2007, you know. That dude has always been both feet firmly planted in the corpo sellout kind of thing. So it's not surprising that Louis C.K. and Kevin Hart and Bill Burr, who has been a sellout for years now, it's not surprising that they would take that money, as if they don't already have enough. It's like I don't want so much money that I don't know what to do with it, and because of that I become a complete degenerate. I just want enough money as to where I can have a house in like a nice neighborhood and I don't have to work a job every day. That's all I want. That's all I need. If you gave me like 5 million right now, that's not like never work again money, but what that is take 1 million out of that and invest it and live off the what's it called? Live off of the interest plus having like a part-time job. I'd work the seafood counter at my local grocery store or something like that. Something where I can pop a an earbud in and I can just fucking like munch on lobster all day. Oh, hey, we got this fucking lobster roll stuff. It came in a giant tub. I just just I used to do that. I used to work at a seafood counter. We had this Cajun crab dip. We had this lobster roll stuff. I forget exactly what you call the filling, the lobster with like the mayo on it. I'd take like a spoon or like I'd have like a glove on and I'd just like take a little bit and I'd just be munching all day. That was like at the time I couldn't stand it. But now I would probably find it to be very, very peaceful, and that's because I have a smartphone now. I didn't have a smartphone back then. I used to bring my laptop to work, and there was this shelf behind the counter that was right underneath. I used to hide it in there, and I used to like, okay, anybody here? No, no, no. Okay, I'd like crouch down and I'd be like typing messages to my friends and shit like that. You know? Um Man, that's how I stayed in touch. That's how I stayed in touch. But 1 million, I'm done. Yeah. Lobster guts. Yes. The lobster guts is what I would do. The lobster guts. Tom Segura and some of the Rogan podcast bro guys took the deal as well. Oof. Yep. Not surprised. Not surprised. Um just looking around at some of the stuff that I may have missed. I bet Scott goes hard at karaoke. What's your karaoke song, Scott? I don't have a karaoke song. I don't have one of those, sir. It would probably be it would what the fuck is my wife doing? I just hear outside. I'm gonna go check on her. But um I'd probably do Bed by Jay Holiday. You can look that song up. I'll be right back though. All right. Now I got the song stuck in my head because it's a good song, but it's like a kind of a dumb song, you know. Um, what was I gonna talk about? Oh yeah, my dog's going blind. I feel so bad. He's got retinal detachment, and as a result, he has tunnel vision, so he can still see directly in front of him. But anything like here, it's just he can't see. So I'll go and I'll get him a treat, and he'll be able to see because he'll look directly at me, and he'll see I have the treats in my hand. I have a little not barrel, but jar. I have a jar, right? I'll open up and I'll be like, sit, sit, and he'll sit. Excuse me. Um, and I'm so mad because I taught him to stay. I taught him how to stay, and then like a couple months later, he starts to go blind, and I'm just like, what the fuck, man, you know? So I'll put the thing on the ground, and I'll be like, stay, and he won't move, and I'll be like, oh, dude, yeah, he's still doing it. All right, go get it, and I'll point, and he'll be like, he literally won't be able to see it because like he can't see here, and the thing is like here in his vision, you know. It's just like, oh man, that sucks, man. In other news too, my wife is a citizen now, just like you and me. No different, no different, just like you and me. She's a citizen now. She had her ceremony yesterday. I'm very proud of her. I'm very proud of the woman that she is because she came here. She didn't take any handouts. There was no help. And she built a life for herself, and we're building a life together. And I have to respect it even more than I do now that I'm thinking of it because she wasn't she didn't really have a life built for herself back in Brazil, if I'm being honest with you. She was a lawyer. She went to law school, which is a little shorter in Brazil than here. She was part of a firm with her aunt where she was actually getting pretty decent work. And her career path was that she wanted to be a judge. And she would have got there. She definitely would have got there, you know? But she decided to come to America, where she had nothing. She knew nobody other than her sister, and her sister's fucking insane. And she got here, and a couple days later, like COVID shut the country down. And because COVID shut the country down, we had nothing to do, right? She would do like DoorDash or Instacart or something like that. That's how she made her money. Um, and me, like I had my job because I was essential. I am essential. And because of that, like we just had nothing to do but to hang out all day. So that's why we got married so quick after, is because it was like without question, it was just like, hey, I'm out of work. You want me to come over? And she's like, yeah, sure. I'm not doing whatever today, so come on over. You know, we spent like every day together. Um, excuse me. And because of that, we got used to each other very quick. Doesn't mean that when we got married, we weren't still kind of learning how to get used to each other. I mean, we didn't live together. We didn't live together until after we got married. Um, but like um it was crazy, and now she has a good job doing something that she had to work hard to be able to do. And I'm very proud of her. She donated a kidney to her sister as well, which I figured out her lungs collapsed during the surgery, which is insane. She never told me. The doctors never even told her. The doctors never told her. She never told me when she figured it out. Whoa. Damn, what the fuck? I went from 17 viewers to 2 viewers according to my thing, my stream page. It says 19 concurrent. Oh no, now it says 2 viewers. So, is there something going on? Is my stream all good, or do you guys just really not want to hear about my wife? I'm curious. Somebody told me, right? The last time, oh no, now I'm back up to 18 or 19. You see, this happened a few weeks ago, and somebody came to my stream and said, "Hey, did anyone randomly get sent to XQC?" Almost as though YouTube was like, "No, we're going to take the few viewers you have and send them to somebody who doesn't need any more viewers." Which would not surprise me one bit. I got to be honest with you. YouTube is fucked like that. It's so awful. It's terrible. But yeah, I mean, apparently it's all good now. Apparently it's all good now. Can she give me her Brazil citizenship? Nah, I'm making her give that up. I said, "You're an American now, just like us. Just like us. You don't need inferior citizenships." But yeah, I'm glad it's all good. But yeah, like I'm just so proud of her. She's a great woman. I'm happy that she's my wife. I could have married a couple other women in my life if I really wanted to make it work. There was one woman in particular. I spent 5 years with her. That's how long I've been with my wife currently. I spent 5 years with this one woman. I have been with my wife for about 5 years at this point. We've been married for a little over 4. Actually closer to like 4.5, 4 3/4, if anything. But like, I'm glad I didn't marry that woman. I'm glad I didn't marry any of the big titty goth bitches that I dated. I'm glad I didn't marry any of the waste-toyed women, do nothing bitch, idiot females. Oh, excuse me. If I got married, I assumed it was probably going to be to a white woman, right? A white American woman. That's cool. But I didn't. I met somebody else that I really care about, that I really love, and I'm happy that she's an American citizen now. Um, I gotta give her credit because, like I said, she didn't have a life built for herself when she came here. Like, she had a career path and she had some things that were going good for her, but like, she was living with her mom up until the age of like 22, 23 when she came here. And or 24, 25, somewhere around there. Jeez. But anyway, um yeah, she was living with her mom, right? She didn't have to pay bills or anything like that. And then she uprooted her life, went from that comfortable life where she had a job that was paying her well and she didn't even have to like spend money on bills or anything like that, to bang, no help, no safety net. She could easily fail at any time, and she has made it work for herself very well. Um, so good for her. Good for her. Um, if I wanted to hear XQC, I would watch Courage the Cowardly Dog. Oh man. I somehow don't exactly know what you're talking about, but I also know what you're talking about. All at the same time. Um, Scott's wife still calls him the Scott. That's what she does. She calls me the Scott. Being a lawyer in Brazil is interesting. I imagine a lot of crazy stuff happens over there. Yeah, she did not do criminal. She did wills and property disputes and stuff like that. And the reason why is because she didn't want to be a prosecutor where she's going to have a target on her back because she's the fucking prosecutor. Right? And she didn't want to be a defense lawyer either, where she was gonna be given like cases for people who were definitely guilty, and if she didn't get them off, some fucking low IQ favelado is gonna be like, "Oh, you what do you mean guilty? What do you mean guilty? That's your fault. I was supposed to be innocent. I am innocent. They did not. I did not do it. That security footage is a bullshit. Is bullshit. I will kill you." Like, she literally didn't want to have to deal with that type of shit. So she was like, "Whatever. I'm gonna do wills. I'm gonna do things where it's just like regular people. Because the favelados don't have wills a lot of the time. They don't have anything to give to somebody in the first place. I mean, Brasilia doesn't have favelas, but they have favelas. Like, she told me, we actually met somebody else from Brasilia recently, like over the summer. I met her, my wife didn't. And I asked her what part of Brasilia she was from, and She told me the area she was from. I forget exactly what it was called. And I go home and I tell my wife, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I lived in this area of Brasilia. That was the nice area of Brasilia. She lived in the shit area of Brasilia, and the people who live in that area would go to my area, the nice area, and they would rob people and sell drugs there and make it shitty." So it's like that kind of sounds a bit like a favela to me. I got to be honest with you, you know. But apparently it's not. Apparently it's not. Um, yeah, it must be a dangerous job. I bet people could still find a reason to be horrible to a will or a state lawyer. Oh yeah, of course, you know. Like not to shit on Brazilians too much. I love Brazilians. They're really down to earth people. And it's funny, I noticed something. Brazilians don't tend to come here and cause trouble. I'm not saying that they don't ever or that it couldn't happen. You do have plenty of them that do that. But a lot of them come here and they're not liable to rob a bank or like kill somebody or something like that. I'm not saying that means it's all good and we should import the whole country. We definitely should not. I think illegal Brazilians should be sent back, you know. But like um a lot of the time around here when you hear some guy robbed a bank and his last name is Costa, it's a Cape Verdean. It's interesting when you like really pay attention to it. And but yeah, and anyway, like Brazil, just like a lot of other Latin cultures, there is a childlike wonder to them. There is a childishness to them where nothing matters that much. Nobody's time is that valuable. And if you get upset, well, then that just means you're wrong and you don't understand what's really important in life. And that can be a good thing, but it can be a really bad thing. And I'm framing it like it's a bad thing, right? The good side of that is that nothing is that big of a deal, so you can just relax if you fuck up. Fucking up is not that big of a deal. If something doesn't get done when it was supposed to, you don't have to rip your hair out and be like, "Oh fuck, dude, I'm so fucked." Like you don't, just chill, relax, take it easy, right? In addition to that, they're not big on working your life away. They don't have the Protestant work ethic, which is like exactly what led to the situation we're in now, by the way. All right. Not to make it a religious discussion, but Protestant work ethic is exactly what led to us being in the fucked up situation we're in now, where corporations think that being hired means that you have to work your entire life away and kill yourself for the company. But again, that's another conversation. They don't have that Protestant work ethic, and because of that, like again, it's just a much more easygoing, much more chill. They value their time off, they value their leisure time, they value time together, hanging out, having fun. So I actually appreciate that. And as somebody who my main goal is to try and work as little as possible so that I can spend time with my friends, my family, and eventually my kids and stuff like that. Like I appreciate that. And it makes the idea of going to Brazil kind of appealing. If I'm being honest with you, I don't want to, but I don't know. You guys might see me in Brazil at some point. Maybe. But excuse me. What was I gonna say? Like the bad side to that is that there is a certain entitlement sometimes, and they have a macho culture, but they have a macho culture, not a manly culture. They don't have a very virile culture. They have a very feminine culture that lends to macho behavior, right? A lot of people think that being a man is like always being in control, always having power, and like being angry and lashing out and all this other stuff. Those people are stupid. People who think that are stupid. Whether it's somebody who appreciates that kind of behavior or if it's somebody who is given to that kind of behavior personally, they're a dummy and you shouldn't listen to them. They suck, right? Um, but that's something you see a lot in Brazil. You see a lot of guys like it happened to my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law gets crashed into by this guy, and the dude's an illegal, and fucking he like begs and begs and begs and begs, like, please, 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 like, don't report this, don't report this, right? My brother-in-law is like, all right, that's fine, but you're gonna have to pay for this. I need you to give me money to pay for this. The guy doesn't ever give him money. And then when my cousin's like, my cousin, what the fuck, my brother-in-law is like trying to get in touch with this dude, like, yo, you're not giving me the money. You said you'd give me the money. You're gonna have to give me the money, dude, or else I'm gonna report this. The guy's like, you're saying I'm not a man. You're treating me like I'm not a man. And guess what? If you tell somebody, I'll have to do something about it. As if like this fucking Brazoo, this middle-aged Brazoo is gonna show up to my place and he's not gonna get broken in half. My dog is this big, and he's got more fight in him than I do. Fucking, I wouldn't even have to do anything. I'd unleash the hound. Fucking, but like, jokes aside, like, nothing to be afraid of with this guy. But like, that's the type of shit that you see from those lower IQ dudes that sometimes end up over here. You know, and there's a lot of those dudes in the area where it's like, what do you mean guilty? You are my lawyer. You are supposed to get me off of this crime. I am innocent. I'm going to have you killed. Like that's the type of attitude they have about a lot of this shit, you know? And then on the other side of that is like the way too chill, way too zen, way too annoying kind of person where like the kind of person where, like, it happened with the mechanic. I got into a crash earlier this year, right? And I didn't report it to my whatever it's called, my insurance, because the damage was only to my car, and I knew that I could repair it out of pocket. And even though it would be a bit more of a hassle, at the very least, I wouldn't have to deal with my insurance being annoying. So I'm sitting here with my car in my parking lot. I'm paying out of pocket to rent cars. And I'm waiting for this dude who I know through my brother-in-law to come down and repair the thing. He takes like 2 weeks to be able to get his ass down there. And then he takes a look and he's like, okay, I know what you need. He gives me a list of shit that I needed to buy. I buy the list of shit that he gave me to buy, and then turns out one of the things is wrong. He gave me the wrong thing to buy. So I had to return that. I had to then buy another one. He gets it, right? No. I didn't even, well, I had to buy it, but this guy specifically ordered it. He gets the thing. He doesn't open it to check to make sure everything's all good. He just goes, oh, this is the piece that I needed for a scotch. Okay, I will put it here for safekeeping, and it will be there for when I need it. And then when it comes time, a week later, for him to redo my car, he opens up the box. It turns out they sent the wrong part. So it's just thing after thing after thing after thing. He takes forever to do it in the first place. He gave me the wrong thing. Then he ordered something that the company sent the wrong thing. And instead of him doing his due diligence, instead of making sure his bases are covered and everything's all taken care of, he's like, oh, nah, it would be another week. And I'm sitting here ready to fucking blow. I'm ready to fucking like hit this dude. I'm ready to hit this dude with the car. You know? And it's like he just doesn't understand how fucked up that is, because in Brazil they don't have that concept in the way that we have it here. The worst thing you could do to an American is waste his time. That is so rude, it is so inconsiderate. And guess what? My car got towed because it was sitting in my parking lot forever. And it was like clearly fucked up. So the tow truck, the pirates, I told the story back in like February or March when it was happening. The pirates that fucking cruise the parking lot looking for cars they can take illegally, but apparently it's okay because there's this or that or the other thing. Fucking, they saw it and they were like, ooh, jackpot. So I had to pay another few $100s just to get that fucking thing out. You know, it was just a nightmare. And it's like, I have these fucking Brazilians who are like, hey, it's all right, I will take care of it. Hey, it's all Gucci. Hey, don't worry, it will be all right. They're just like chilling. They're just like, haha, yeah. That's just their attitude. Meanwhile, I'm wasting more and more money, and I'm just getting more and more stressed, and more bad things are happening to me. While they're just like, hey, it's all right. Hey, that's like the piece of Brazilian culture that makes me want to take a bat to somebody's head. It's like, fuck, dude. Fuck. Don't go to a Brazilian if you want a job done right the first time and you want it done quick. If you have all the time in the world and you don't mind if the job does not get done right the first time, then hey, do whatever you want. You know, you go to Joao and be like, "Hey man, how's it going? Haha, yeah, thanks." Don't go to one. And it's the same with Mexicans, just Latinos in general, because they have that like kind of attitude about things, you know? And when you're like, yo, dude, you're fucking me here. I needed this done last week. It's still not done, and it's not going to be done for another week. What the fuck is your problem? Why can't you get this done? They're going to be like, relax, man. That's not cool the way you're talking to me. That's not all right. Hey, relax, man. What's important is you're alive. It's like, fucking. Where's the fucking bat? Where's the fucking baseball bat? You know? It's like, fuck, dude. Scott, genuinely curious why you don. What do you mean? Oh, why you don't fix your own car? It was collision damage. It's not just like, oh, I gotta fucking I gotta change my oil. If I felt like changing my oil, I would. But also I'm cool with paying for it because I'm not a car guy in the first place. And even if something is that simple as changing your oil, I don't want to like what I gotta get all the shit required for changing your oil, and I gotta drive it up on the fucking ramp thing so that it's nice and elevated, and I gotta get underneath that elevated car and hope that I didn't get the ramp that malfunctions, the poorly designed ramp that is about to have a recall on it because instead of making it with steel, they made it with aluminum foil, and I gotta hope and pray the car is gonna go right down on top of me. Like, nah, I'd rather just pay. It's a lot simpler. It's a lot easier. There's a place. There's like 5 places near where I live. It's like a 10-minute drive tops. It's like fuck it, you know. That's one of those things that gets annoying. Is like not directed towards you, not directed towards you, Rusty. But that's one of those things that car guys annoy the fuck out of me with. Is like the ultimate deciding factor as to whether or not you're a man or not is not cars. Cars are for like fucking idiots a lot of the time. Like I very rarely have I ever met a car guy who's not a fucking dummy. If I'm just being honest with you, you know, and like they always assume that like, huh, you don't change your own oil. Oh man, huh? Well, how is it being trans? Like they have this weird attitude about it, and it's like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'll beat the shit out of you. Go change my oil for me. Go ahead. You think you could beat me in a fight? No? All right, shut the fuck up. You know? Fucking it's like I'm not interested in cars. I don't want to think about my car. I don't want to look at my car. I want to drive my car to where I want to go so that I can get whatever I need done, or so that I can have some fun with somebody or something like that, you know? I'm not a car guy. I'm not the kind of guy who's like, "Oh, I better change my oil. Oh, I better do this. I better do that." It's like, no. If something's wrong with the car and I can take care of it myself, I will. But if I can't, or if I just don't feel like it, it's worth it for me to pay to have somebody else take care of my car, especially when my front end is fucked up and I need a new radiator and I need a new piece that I can mount the lights on and all this other shit, you know? Like I'm not interested in trying to figure that out, you know? It's whatever. Oh, man. Um Pack it up, move to Florida, I give you place to live, come teach MMA at Valhalla. Yeah, I'll teach MMA at Valhalla with fuck, what's Cash Patel. Only if Cash Patel is gonna be there. That's the only way. Um, man, Scott making his car videos and streams in a car that is totaled in his parking lot so people don't steal it. Yeah. Is Justin Gaethje secretly Brazilian? Maybe, you know? Like I think it like there's two things that lead to that. One, it's low IQ. Two, it's cultural. It is cultural, you know? Um and I'm not saying Brazilians are stupid. There's a lot of stupid Brazilians, but there's also a lot of stupid Americans. What I'm saying though is that there is something that is cultural with Brazilians where they don't value each other's time. They don't even value their own time. And because of that, they don't mind if their time gets wasted a little bit. The most that'll happen is just, what an idiot. Anyway, moving on, you know? Like, me personally, if somebody's wasting my time, I want to get away from them ASAP, and I'm gonna let them know, like, get the fuck, like, get away from me, get the fuck out of here. You have made my life worse. You have made my day worse. Get away from me. Oh, excuse me. Um, Sorry, I was checking something out real quick. But yeah, like I was thinking about that, you know, and like I think a lot of different things. Um, I think a lot of different good and bad things come from the culture, you know? Like in Brazilian culture, parents don't want their kids to leave the nest, and that's a good thing, but it's a bad thing because on one hand, they never really learn self-sufficiency in that way, right? You have a lot of, and when I say they, I obviously don't mean everybody or anything like that, but like there's a lot of Brazilians that I do meet and that I do see who like you can tell there's just something off about them. And even if they do survive okay in America, it's just not something that they're 100% willing or able to accept that like, yeah, we don't tend to have kids living with parents. If a 25-year-old is living with your parents, is living with their parents, it's usually because something's wrong. And personally, I think the country, the United States, would benefit from a bit of a cultural shift on that level because the good piece of that is that you have whatever your parents have. There is no downward slide. My parents, by now, they had a house and they had me, and a year or two later they would end up having my brother. My brother and I are 19 months apart. You know, we're a little bit under 2 years apart. So, you know, about 2 years later, when my dad was 30, he had me. No. 9 No, my dad was 34 when he had me. My dad was 34, but my mom was still in her 20s, right? So, actually, I have a little bit more time. I have a little bit more time, but when my dad was 30, he had a house. Fuck him. I don't have a house. I'm probably like, if I have kids, it's gonna be without a house. You know, the point that I'm trying to make, like I got in my own head because I was like, actually, wait a second, I don't think the math adds up on what I was about to say. But the bottom line of what I was trying to say is, I am going to have less than my parents had. It's just the way that it is. You know, in Brazil, my wife said, like, honestly, if we got married and we went to Brazil, we would probably have a house by now. My family would have tried to put something together for us so that we could have had a house and we could have kids by now. And we don't want to have to go back to Brazil necessarily. If we go back to Brazil, it's going to be because we had a lump sum of cash and we were like, hey, let's go live the easy life, you know? Um, Excuse me. Like we don't want to have to build our lives in Brazil. We want to be in a situation where we can go there, just buy a house or a condo and just be set, you know? But um like that's the point that's the point that I'm trying to make though is like it's good because there's never a situation where you have less than your parents had unless your parents are like absolutely positively the worst kinds of people, or if you were stupid and you did something where like you sold the house that they gave you and stuff like that. Me, I told you guys the story. My grandfather dies, he leaves us two properties. They sell one that was in New Hampshire, and then they like my mom and her sister, who were my grandfather's only children. They do this weird bullshit where like each of them had half of the house. They had half ownership of the house. And my aunt, who is married but has no kids and will never have kids because she's in her 50s now, she has fur babies, is what she has. She buys out the other half of the house from my mom, utilizing money from the sale of that one property that my grandfather left in New Hampshire, and then also the sale of her own house. So now my grandfather's house is my aunt's house, and I'm living in an apartment with my wife, who we want to have children. So the people who don't need the help got the help. The people who need the help were fucked. Like that is American bullshit. That is the American bullshit. And that's like the bad side of that. The good side of that is that you have people who are a little bit more down to earth in that way. They understand money doesn't grow on trees. They understand you're not all like homelessness is only a couple of steps away. If you make the wrong choice, or if the wrong things happen to you, you can and will fail in a major way. Brazilians are a little bit, they don't have as much of a grasp of that. They don't understand that as much from what I've seen, you know? So it's like there's good and bad pieces of cultures, To recap, the Brazilian, oh no, don't ever leave the house. I'm gonna die in this house and then it'll be yours. That type of shit is good because I mean at least you have a house. You're guaranteed. But it's bad because you don't really understand poverty is like it's a step or two away, and like you have to grow up and you can't be a kid forever. There's a certain amount of like you stay a child for a lot longer in a culture like that. You stay a child for a lot longer, and when you go to a place like America, you don't quite fit in because you're still very much a child, is what happens a lot of the time, from what I've noticed, from what I've seen. And then of course the flip side is like that culture of America is like your parents who don't even need the money, they're pulling weird fucking maneuvers and bullshit with a property that their parents left them, and you're sitting here like subsisting, not living, subsisting if you're lucky, living three or four people to a two-bedroom apartment just so you can like not starve to death. Meanwhile, your parents are like, yeah, oh, it's totally fine. Well, hey, yeah, hey, my project car, my fucking project car, the muffler came in. How are you doing, son? You can barely afford fucking ramen. Hey, that's all right. Shit happens. But my project car, like having to deal with that is shitty. But at the very least, you learn like how to be an adult for real. You know. Um, the housing market is so fucked. The West is going culturally in that direction anyway. Yeah. In America, it's hard to climb back up to level. In other countries, it's not as far. Yeah, yeah. You fall farther in America. You fall farther in America. You don't fall as far in a place like Brazil. And that means a couple of things. For one thing, like you were never really that well off in the first place comparatively, in a country like Brazil. But also when you fall, it's like, well, you know, 3 steps instead of 10. Fucking in America, you can be really well off comparatively, and then you fall, and it's like, oh shit, how am I gonna build back? I don't know if I will. Oh, excuse me. Um, Good lord, no Jeets in my gym. Oh man. Uh, we got about 20 minutes left. Texting my wife to bother. Sorry, just checking some shit real quick. Somebody said Sopranos isn't even the best HBO show. Is that true? Yo, Scott, if I buy a lake house in New Hampshire would you consider a fishing trip? I'm not much of a fisherman, but I mean, I don't know, maybe. I might make my way up there. Um, all right. In Brazil, you rise like the head of the maca the macaco, I would assume, or the macaco, floating in the sopa. Oh boy, man, I don't know what else to talk about. I don't know what else to talk about. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I have a little under 20 minutes left until this 2 hour stream is done, and I don't even know what to discuss with you guys. I'm trying to think of some stuff. You know, trying to think of some things and some stuff, and yeah, you know, it sucks. Like it sucks what's going on with the Charlie Kirk thing because that should have been the left wing J6. There should have been paddy wagons, you know, like there should have been like here's something about the left wing in America that a lot of people are not aware of. They have brick and mortar businesses and community center type shit. Like there's a center. I don't know if it's still around, but there was like a center for Marxism in Cambridge. I remember we threw stickers up there. Me and one of the guys from the activist days. We stickered their place with some anti-com shit because we're hardcore. We're hardcore. Um, there's a place called Lucy Parsons Center in I don't know exactly where it is. I think it might be Jamaica Plain or something like that, but it's in the Boston area. That is the place that put out the call to action for the counter demonstration by Antifa for the Charlie Kirk vigil in Boston. Um, they have brick and mortar businesses where you can walk in and you can learn about Marxism and you can like get involved in stuff like that. There is no reason why Trump shouldn't have had federal paddy wagons in front of places like that, kicking in doors, breaking the windows to fucking round people up. There is zero reason for it, you know? Scott is a husband cell. That's what I am. I'm a husband cell. Um, anyway, like it sucks to see that there has not been much of a response, but there has been a response if we're being honest here. It's just not as thorough and it's not as FIFA, a terror organization. That was a good thing. By the way, I'd appreciate if everyone would like and sub as well. I mean, all of you are pretty much sub to me, but I would appreciate if you would leave a like. What? No data. Oh no, all right. Okay. Now it says excellent connection. Now, dude, really? What the fuck is going on here? Fuck is going on here? What? Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, so I apologize if you guys see any weird shit or if like the stream just goes dead. I don't know why YouTube is all of a sudden not working. I'm going to have to see if I can troubleshoot this. Yeah, I'll bet I dropped for a second. It's not surprising cuz I saw like it said even now it says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Before it said that there was just straight up bang, just like nothing, nobody, you know? So I apologize for that. I would appreciate if anybody here would like the stream. All right. Um, and have you ever been to the Christian Science Museum and gone into that room where you can hear people clearly, even if they whisper? No, I haven't. That's interesting. My grandmother was actually Christian Science, but she was not like a practicing person. We didn't even know until she died. We had no clue. She kept that under her hat because she probably was like, yeah, I don't believe in that shit. Um, but yeah, like it would be nice to see a much more serious, a much more finite, a much more harsh, if we're being honest here, response We need to see leftists being dragged out of the Lucy Parsons Center. We need to see leftists being dragged out of the anarchist book fair and things like that. We can't allow these people to we can't allow these people to just keep on doing what they're doing, you know? And I think I saw something about Trump mobilizing the National Guard in Portland specifically, and they have full authority, which I'm sure that doesn't actually mean anything. I forget exactly what it said, but he said they can use full force, and it's like, what does that mean? What's full force? Is it are they gonna whack them with lightsabers a little too hard? You know, is this is that what's happening? Fucking is it iDubbbz Airsoft Fatty collab shit? Like, the fact that they're there, and if they're hitting people with anything, like, that's a good thing, but we need to see arrests. It's not enough to just hit somebody with some pepper balls and then they go home, because what's going to happen is they're going to treat it like gangbangers treat they're going to treat it like gangbangers treat getting shot. Gangbangers don't get shot and then think, "Oh man, maybe I should reconsider what I'm doing and how I'm doing it." That's not what they do. They go, "Yeah, now I'm hard. Now I'm serious. Now I'm legit." So that's what's going to happen with a lot of these people in Portland specifically, is they're just going to go home and they're going to be like, "Yeah, you see these welts? Wow." They're going to use it to try and get some pussy is what they're is what they're going to do. They're going to try to get pussy using the fact that they got hit with pepper balls at a riot. That's all that's going to happen, you know? He's willing to deploy a mini nuke. I hope so. I hope so. With the Fat Man. Full force is weapons from Halo. Yeah, I feel like I remember something like that too. At the very least, police forces and the military better not. I'm not saying anyone should do this necessarily, but I could totally understand why someone might feel a need to. If somebody beats the fuck out of somebody else who has an Antifa flag at like an event, the police better not do anything about that. At the very least, allow people who do things that they shouldn't be doing, mind you. They shouldn't be doing it, right? But if somebody does, maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not telling people to do it. Don't do that kind of thing. But if there was some Antifa guy, if I was walking through Boston and there was some Antifa demonstration or something like that, these guys are domestic terrorists. I take that as a threat. I'd take that the same as if there was a fucking Muslim walking around with an ISIS flag talking about death to America. I would kind of consider that to be a bit of a threat. Even if it's not to me directly, it's a threat in general. And that threat is towards me indirectly. So, can you really blame me if I body somebody and maybe take the flag and throw it in the trash? Do you think someone should be arrested for that kind of thing? I mean, this is a domestic terrorist organization. It was signed into action via executive order last Monday. I don't think police should be enforcing that kind of thing. I think if you're going to march around with that kind of thing, that should be a crime on some level. It should be a call to action. In the same way that if somebody was marching around with a swastika and they called somebody a name, they would be like arrested. Or if somebody beat them up, the cops would typically look the other way and stuff like that, you know? Here we go. You know, it's like, it's just like, what are you going to do? You know, if the government won't protect you, you have to protect yourself. And even if the government is protecting you, the onus for self-defense, the onus for protecting yourself is always on you in the first place, you know? You gotta hold on one sec. Anyway, I don't know, man. I mean, there's so many things that could happen that are just not happening, and it would be nice if, at the very least, like police were directed to or pressured to not do anything if a citizen felt threatened by a domestic terrorist and started bashing their head in. Even though that's not something you should do, you should never do something like that. If somebody did it, I don't think they should be arrested for it. If I'm just being honest with you, you know. But anyway, don't take Ezekiel description to heart. Um, what do you mean specifically, John 424? Speaking of which, if you ever run out of stuff to talk about, iDub self destruction is always a fresh topic. I don't want to be one of those guys who talks about iDubbbz all the time though. You know I had my time kind of running with the MDE crew and stuff like that, and actually Sam released the iDubbbz documentary, his side of the iDubbbz documentary, um, like a day or two before we met up for like the second or third time. It was like I met Sam, and within a month of me meeting Sam is when the iDubbbz documentary was released. Or maybe it wasn't a month, maybe it was a couple of months, but the bottom line is like me and the iDubbbz documentary kind of entered into the MDE sphere around the same time, you know? I may not really be hanging out and palling around with those guys very much anymore. I'm moving on with my life. They're moving on, whatever. But like, given the fact that I was so close to that sphere, not even close. I was in the middle of that sphere for a long time, a few years, and like, there's still things that I could partake in, like Blood Games 2, if they ever decided to bring it back. Um, Considering all of that, I think that it would probably be better for me to not be talking about iDubbbz a ton. Not that anyone, like, I have 12 viewers right now. I have 104 viewers on YouTube total. Like, I have 12 concurrent viewers. There's been 104 people who have watched this stream today. That's not groundbreaking, you know. But even then, it's kind of a principle thing. You know, it's a principle thing. I don't want to create problems for somebody who I considered a friend for a while, you know? Um, he's becoming his own fully fledged lol cow thanks to his beef with H3H3. Everyone has forgotten his association with Sam. Nah, a bunch of people never forgot his association with Sam, and you know I know iDubbbz hasn't. And iDubbbz is here I am talking about him now, but iDubbbz is someone who perhaps there's a piece of it that's kind of coming on purpose, but regardless of whether it's purposeful or not, iDubbbz is the kind of guy who does not understand what a tactical or a strategic move is. He doesn't understand what it is to hold his tongue anymore. Maybe at one point he understood that, but I have a feeling that through a combination of being henpecked as well as being on SSRIs, which I have a feeling he's probably on those. I don't know for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me. Through a combination of those things, he would definitely start shit talking Sam again if like it turned out that his boxing coach from back in the day was like, fucking iDubbbz sucks, dude. He fucking piece of shit, dude. Denny's sucks. Only fucking losers eat at Denny's, dude. Like, you know, so that's one of the reasons. And then the other reason, if I'm being honest with you, is I don't think it's the right thing to do to be kicking a man while he's down. He's down and it's his own fault. He deserves it. Not the kicking, just being down. But I don't feel that it's the right thing to kick a man while he's down. He got his punishment. His punishment is he no longer has a career. He lives in Canada now with his mom, not his mom, his wife's mom or something like that. His wife's mom. Fucking um like they're broke. I guarantee you they're broke. They don't have money. They don't have anything. That's why all of a sudden iDubbbz is like streaming again a ton. Is because he's trying his best to make any kind of money that he can without having to just fucking get a job. You know? Um like I think his life is hard enough, and I don't think I need to add to the chorus of voices that are laughing at him. I think I can just let a person be miserable on their own, and maybe someday he'll dig himself out of it. Whether it means he gets rid of Yoko, or if he doesn't, whether it means he learns his lesson or he doesn't, whatever. Good luck to him. You know, you watching UFC tonight? Nah, I'm not really interested in non-numbered cards a lot of the time. It's like UFC Perth, right? I'm not really that interested in it. I'll be honest with you. You know, if it was a good card tonight, or a card that I was interested in anyway, I probably would have streamed for the UFC specifically. But you know, here we are. You don't kick a man while he's down. You tickle his tummy. Exactly. Exactly. How do you think his story will end? There's only two ways he can go. Either one, he will fade further and further into irrelevancy, and he will be forced into a position where all he can do is just get a job. Um, or two, he will make some form of a comeback after he realizes that the way he has been acting has not been good. And it's got nothing to do with his politics, maybe a little bit, but not as much. Nobody cares if he does. Nobody cares that he doesn't say the N word anymore. Nobody's mad about that, you know. Nobody cares if he's like a fucking feminist or anything like that. It's like with Quentin Reviews. He was a great example of a guy who like back when he first hit the scene, I used to love his channel, right? He was a good slop content kind of channel. And he was kind of funny, a little charming. I enjoyed watching his I forget like I forget everything he did. It's been almost 10 years since I was watching Quentin Reviews. Um the bottom line is that like this is a dude who I enjoyed watching, and then all of a sudden he started shitting on like anything right wing. He brought politics into his shit. And it's like, yo, I don't care if you're a leftist, bro. I don't care if you had a sudden change of heart. I don't care if your whole thing now is like, actually, I'm a socialist. Doesn't matter to me one bit. Doesn't matter at all. It's all good. Whatever, fuck it. Just make entertaining content, dude. But he couldn't. He just couldn't. He had to keep on making fucking statements and shit like that, trying to die on hills, you know? And it's like, fuck, man. Sometimes you just need to shut up. Like, and everybody is like that too. Like, sometimes I need to shut up. It's not good to always talk about, like, people who are bad. Meaning, like, the fish tank community who's, like, they're just genuine pieces of shit. Who they talk shit about me and they hate me because I'm not a piece of shit like them. I'm actually, like, a respectable dude. You know? There's a lot of people who like they're pill heads, they're wigger motherfuckers, they're just plain degenerate pieces of shit that watch Fish Tank, if we're just being honest here, you know? And it's not always smart for me to be calling them out like I am right now, you know? Um, and that's not the whole fan base or anything like that. I'm calling out that specific subsection of the fan base, you know? Um, what's going on? Uh, that's gay. Your sister can't do it. What is this like a new development? Yeah, go ahead. No, I mean like, was that like a sudden like you didn't know you were gonna have to do it? She just called me and she said she texted you because I wasn't answering my phone. Oh. Just ignore. Oh, jeez, yeah, yeah. My phone doesn't light up when I get WhatsApp messages. Mine too. Yeah, I don't know why. But anyway, I've heard more CVS back alley drug discussion in the fish tank chat than I have anywhere else in my entire life combined. Yeah. Druggies love making that their whole personality. I'm not just talking about like fish tank guys, or like fish tank druggies. I mean, you can keep that on. It's okay. No, it's all right, you know. I love you. Let me know if you think of anything for dinner, if you want to pick anything up on the way home, or if you want to order, or like whatever you want to do. Okay.
Yeah, let me know if you have an idea.
Yeah, I will. I won't. I want her to decide what she wants. No, but like that's something that I can't stand is druggies who think that what they do is like some kind of like deep tortured soul thing. They make drugs their entire personality to the point where if you get something wrong about some kind of drug, they feel a need to try and correct you about it the same way that some fucking non-binary fuckhead feels a need to try and correct you about pronouns, you know? Like it happened once. There was this chick, she was dating a friend of mine. I don't even know if they were still dating at the time. Um some drug dealers moved in down the street from where I was living. And I said something about that on Facebook. And this chick had the gall to like try and correct me about it. I was like, yeah, people like to get strung out down the street. I'm not a fucking heroin dude. I don't know that fucking shit. I don't know strung out is a bad thing apparently. It's news to me, you know? But like I said something like that and she slid in the DM and she was like, "Hey Scott, I just wanted to let you know that drug users, heroin users don't actually like to get strung out. I just want you to know so that you can make better statements in the future. You should really know what you're talking about before you start talking about it." And I called her out on it. I was like, dude, I don't give a fuck about it. I don't want to be the expert on drug addiction. I don't give a shit about it. You shouldn't have done drugs in the first place, Julie. You fucking dumbass. I don't give a fuck that you were sad and you were looking for something to make you feel happy. Oh, I'm sad a fucking ton. I'm sad all the time, and you guys have no clue about it. How often am I like I'm not a drug user. I do alcohol. How often am I like glug 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 glug? Oh, hey guys, no. I fucking raw dog it because I'm a man, because I'm an adult, and I don't need to sit here laying on a fucking crutch because I'm that weak, you know? But you have these people who they try to act like it's a weakness thing. They're like, no, actually, it's a disease, is what it is. But then they turn around and they try and self aggrandize about it. They try and act like it's something where it's like, oh, dude, but you don't understand, man. No, dude, have you ever even shot up heroin? What are you trying to do talking about it if you haven't shot it up? Have you ever done pressed pills before? How would you even know if you haven't done it before? You sound ignorant right now. It's like, yeah, I'm glad I'm ignorant. That means I'm not a fucking loser. You idiot. Get the fuck out of my face. You know? It's like, fuck. Get out of here. She got the sits. She's going out to a party now with the girls. That's really what it is. That's really what it is. Snoopy. Snoopy, thing. I fucking raw dog it because I'm a man. Exactly. Fucking exactly. R/drug circle jerk comments on Reddit seriously make me upset. Really? Is that a thing? We're gonna check that out because you know what? I'm glad other people notice that. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Right? That's something. That's something that what's it called? Oh yeah, this fucking video. I remember that. Anyway, that's something that fuck. What was I gonna say? Damn, I completely forgot what I was gonna. Oh yeah. Nick Rochefort called that out one day, and I was like, "Fuck yes, I'm glad I'm not the only one." He said like druggies love to talk to you like they have some kind of knowledge that you don't have, that you couldn't have unless you shot up heroin under a bridge, you know, and they think you want to hear all about it. They think you want to hear about like, oh dude, but like, you know, the reason why people end up like me is because we don't have enough programs and people don't pay attention in school, and you know, I mean, we don't feed the poor, man. We got money for wars, but we don't feed the poor. There's a war on drugs, but what about the war on poverty? That's literally a thing that happened in the 60s, was the war on poverty, right? Fucking, you got them. They're like, instead of a war on poverty, they got a war on drugs, so the police can bother me, yo. They talk like that, and like there was a war on poverty in the '60s and '70s. That's where we get this current this current fucking iteration of like welfare and bullshit like that. Um, it's always a guy talking about dimetriotriptyline and DMX3X making him shit on the floor and getting arrested at a bar. Snoopy. Oh, fucking safe search is on. That's why. Ah, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Seems like there might be two of them. Yeah, there's two r/drug circle jerks. Let's go ahead though. Let's go ahead. In case anyone wants to know what huffing gasoline is actually like, no BS trip reports, all a real experience in detail. Oh boy. Cannot tell if we've been out jerked or not. Very confusing post. I did meth with my teen daughter. I did meth and supplied her with meth when I was deep in my addiction and she was 14 years old. During this, I also didn't have a job and we got evicted from our house around Christmas. Oof. Instead of helping up pack or find another place to live, I just laid in bed and slept and got high, all while my drug addicted teen had to pack up her child at home by herself. I wrote this flipped. I'm actually the daughter. Oof. I got clean shortly after we were evicted. The trauma didn't stop there, but my mom got clean around 3 years later. I'm 24 now, so I guess it all worked out okay. You know, like hold on. I wanna talk about this, but I wanna grab my dog first. You know, I wanna grab my dog real quick. Um, Drug subreddits are a glimpse into the void for me. Oh yes, 100%. Um, I'll be right there. I'll be right back. And bring a grandma too. Oh. He says hello. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little fog in his eyes too. Oh. It's okay, buddy. It's gonna be okay. All right. Anywho, so yeah, I was talking about this chick, right? Um, like I've been thinking about it a lot, and I've been talking with my wife a lot about like how to raise kids and stuff like that, and I'm having a bunch of different revelations. Like one of them is about food. It's really important that you know how to cook food that is not absolutely terrible. That's one of the things that fucked me over with my relationship with food is that like when my dad would make steak, he would burn it to a crisp, and the only way to make it tolerable, not even good, but tolerable, was to drown it in A1 sauce. Chicken, same thing. I could not stand any kind of chicken that he would make. My mom was just like bland food, no salt. Like they had this thing with salt where they were like, no, you don't need salt. You don't use salt. No, no salt. And it's because they were afraid of blood pressure issues. That's really what it was. You know, the whole white people don't season their chicken thing. It comes from blacks using like way too much fucking seasoning to the point where their food is not even really edible anymore. You know, and that's why like the black community specifically has such an issue with high blood pressure, gout, obesity, all this other stuff. But we're talking about something different, right? The reason why I love processed foods so much, the reason why I'm so big on soda, on junk food, specifically like packaged treats and stuff like that, is because when I was growing up, the only enjoyment of food that I could have was like candy bars and Hostess and sugary sodas and stuff like that. And I have a much healthier, well, maybe I have a healthier relationship with food. Maybe I don't, right? I mean, I am very overweight, the most overweight I've ever been in my life. But I can at least enjoy a nice steak now. I can enjoy food that is not explicitly like processed, disgusting, like fucking goy feed, you know? Like that's one of those things where it's like you almost have a responsibility to not be a bad cook. You almost have a responsibility to not allow your children to be impoverished, you know? And it's like, how are you going to tell someone they don't have a right to have kids simply because they don't have the money? It's kind of impossible to do that. But also it's like it puts you in a weird spot where you're going to have a bunch of kids who are just not doing well for themselves. They're not well off. And I'm not just talking about like they grow up in poverty. I mean, they are going to become like bug men and bug women. They're just going to become like bad people a lot of the time, you know? They're going to become like shitty. And it's not something that can be fixed by like giving people free housing and ushering in communism or anything like that. That's not how it works. I mean, we've seen the black community only get worse and worse and worse as time has gone on, as they have gotten more and more and more free stuff. To use the black community as an example again, right? The answer is to be personally, responsible for yourself and to make sure that like you have enough, you know? Doesn't mean spoiling your kids or anything like that. What it means is that like a meth user should not have children. And honestly, like if somebody is addicted to drugs like that, like I don't know, maybe it should be illegal in some way. But again, then you get into the topic of how are you going to make it illegal, right? I don't personally support abortion. I'm not an abortion guy. So it's like if a woman has a child and she's a meth user, like it puts you in a weird spot where it's like, well, do you abort the baby? Do you what do you do? What do you do? You know? Maybe their children should be taken from them, but then again, you also get into a spot where it's like, yeah, but if the government is able to just take your kids from you, which they do now for very subpar reasons, right? But if they're able to just take your kids from you for reasons such as that, like, who's to say they're not going to take them from you for other reasons like that, you know? It's a really messy, muddied thing. And the unfortunate reality is that Idiocracy is not just a movie, you know? And you have a lot of people who grew up in environments like this, and because of that, they ended up fucked up, you know? My dad was a hard ass. There was not a lot of love in my household growing up. Things are a lot better between my father and I. My mother's just a narcissist, so, you know, she's always going to be who she is and what she is. There's nothing that can be done about that. Oh, well, you know? But when it comes down to it, I am thankful and I am grateful for some things that were instilled in me, and that is my attention to detail, my work ethic, and all those other things, right? But there are definitely things that like my parents allowed me to fall into that it is 100% their fault, you know? Like what, you couldn't throw a little bit of salt onto the fucking thing to make it taste a little bit better. Instead of just being like, okay, fine, I'll use this spice and I'll use that spice. Fucking, you listen to me like I don't like this, and you're like, oh well, fucking, you're eating it. Like you're just gonna keep making the same thing that I told you I don't like over and over and over again, you know. And that's the way my mom was, because like I said, she was a narcissist. You know, nothing was ever her fault. She never had to change anything. You had to change. It was always your fault. You know, that type of shit. I just remembered I have to send a voice message real quick to my wife. One moment. You know, like I'm not a parent, so I can't sit here and talk from a standpoint of like expertise or anything like that, but I also don't think that completely and totally disqualifies me from talking about parenting, because I have experience dealing with parents in multiple ways, right? For one thing, I was the son of two parents. I had two parents. Um, and I also deal with the parents of children. And I see a bunch of different parenting styles. I see a bunch of different ways that mothers and fathers will handle their children. I see a lot of ways that don't work. I see a lot of ways that appear to work and stuff like that. But like, I can't speak first firsthand what it's like being a parent. But I think one of the most disgusting cop outs. Ah, geez, I got hiccups and gas, I guess. I think one of the most disgusting cop outs that you see from people who are just lazy fucking sacks of shit is parenting doesn't come with a manual. It's like, yes, it does. We've known what works for thousands of years. We have known for thousands of years what works. And you have this weird idea that you're gonna be the perfect one until you're not the perfect one. And then in that case, it's not your fault. It's like, no, you got to take responsibility for yourself, you know. And a lot of people just don't have the capability to do that. They're just not comfortable with it. They don't know how to even do it in the first place, you know. It's so gross, you know. LOL. I hate that you can't blame your parents for certain shit take. What do you mean? What do you? I don't know what you mean. Are you saying that I had a shit take, or are you saying you're just mad that you can't blame your parents for certain shit? Scott, when are you getting affiliate so I can sub to you on Twitch? I keep forgetting to try and do that. I appreciate that though, Cherry Blossom, that you would be willing to do that. Um, maybe I'll go here. I've been thinking as well about the potential. Um, I don't think it's gonna matter that much. I don't think it matters like that. But I'm thinking about potentially starting to stream on Twitch, and um instead of streaming on Twitch, excuse me, not Twitch, Kick. Kick is what I was going to stream on. Um yes. Sorry, I'm trying to log in here. What was I going to say? Oh, hold on. I'm trying to have a conversation with my wife right now while I'm talking to you guys, so all right, anyway. I'm trying to log into Twitch, but what I was saying is I'm not obviously I'm streaming to Twitch right now. You know, Cherry Blossom is here, right? And I appreciate that, Cherry Blossom, but I'm thinking about streaming to Kick and not streaming to Twitter anymore because Twitter is a black hole. You know, you don't like Twitter was not what it was promised to be, you know. It was in my opinion it was an undelivered promise by it was a promise that Elon Musk did not deliver on, is what it was. And Kick seems to be a situation, it seems to be a place where people get a little bit more traction, whether that's for bots or not. I don't know. It could be either. Could be either. Beats me. But regardless, like I want to give Kick a try. So instead of streaming on Twitch, I might multi-stream to Kick in the future, you know? Taking off, Scott. Take it easy. Send me that info on Grinder we talked about. Oh yeah, I'll talk to you later, Neon. Peace out. Um, talking to wife and gay guy at the same time. Scott, you hound. I know. I just can't. You know. I just can't stop myself. I can't help myself. You know. Um. Oh yeah, I've had to work through so many problems alone in life because of my upbringing. It's wild. Yeah, yeah, and it's unfortunate because like a lot of people are just not very good at that kind of thing. It's just it's awful, you know, it's terrible. And you know, like me, I consider myself very lucky because I had the intellect to understand and recognize like where I could go wrong. And you know, I made plenty of mistakes myself. I've made so many mistakes I couldn't even count. But the kinds of mistakes I made were not the same kind of mistakes that a lot of people made. A lot of people would make mistakes based around their or not based around a lot of people make mistakes that they cannot come back from a lot of the time, you know. Me, I was lucky enough to not make those mistakes, or if I made a mistake like that, I was able to kind of finagle it so that I didn't have to worry as much about the fallout, you know. um uh Sorry, just looking around. See, my wife went out. I was gonna stop this stream at 2 hours, but my wife went out. So, you know, while she's on her date, I think I'll just hang out with you guys. Um, I'm gonna play some AOE though. I'm gonna play a quick game or two. You know, we'll see about that. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm gonna be trash. Kick is better than Twitch, so I've heard. You know, like I don't know how their monetization works though. That is one thing. I'm not sure how it all works. I've heard talk about KCIP. I don't even know what that stands for. Kick something something partner. I don't know. Um, Kick cunt in pussy. I don't know, but um, like if by some miracle, right? Like I said, my star has been falling. Um, the golden age of Scott Sullivan streams was like a year to a year and a half ago. Since then I've just been doing that, right? That's just the way it is, you know. I'm old hat. I'm not involved in fish tank the way that I used to be. There's new people in the fish tank sphere, and my shit does not get shown to many new people who are outside of that sphere in the first place. Even people that come in randomly and I'm like, "Oh, I've never seen you here before." They'll be like, "Yeah, I didn't know you streamed. It just got recommended to me. I remember you on Fish Tank. How you doing, buddy?" Like there's people who like when I do get someone new, it's like it's still through Fish Tank because I'm in the Fish Tank algorithm, you know? Um so like I don't plan on going to Kick with like dollar signs in my eyes like, "Oh dude, fucking this is my chance. This is it. It's going to be, dude, we're going to hit the big time, bro." But like I have seen that people have a slightly easier time gaining traction on Kick. So I would rather fuck around with Kick a little bit just to see what happens. Even if I'm in a position where, like I said, a year from now I may not be doing this anymore because I'm just in a situation where I'm just in a situation where sorry, I'm looking just looking around here. Anyway, I'm in a situation where um life is taking me in a different direction, you know? The golden age when Scott had 30 concurrent viewers. It was a beautiful time. It was a beautiful time, you know? Remember it like it was yesterday. Scotty Rocker, thanks for all the help advice throughout the years. I just got a heavy bag with a stand, but the fuckers didn't send floor weights to keep it grounded. Should I just throw some bags of cement on the back? I mean, I'm already fucking up here. It depends, you know. I mean, I don't think the cement bags are gonna be a bad idea. You know, you just got to make sure it's weighted in the right area, you know, or areas. It's like, what else are you gonna do, you know? Oh man, my buddy's visiting Boston from out of state, but I just don't think I have it in me to hang out with him. Not like for him personally, but because I've just had so much on my plate that like I don't know if like I've been doing way too much shit. The reason why I'm not big on going out and doing a bunch of stuff is because I don't have the time, the energy, or the money. And I've been doing way too much shit lately. It's like weekend after weekend after weekend after weekend. I either make the mistake of being like, hey, let's go do this thing, or somebody drags me to do something. And I've been telling my wife for like a month, like, yo, I need to not do anything. Like, I'm not like everybody else. I don't have one job. I have multiple jobs. I have two jobs, you know, two. Two is multiple, but you know, when you think of multiple, you tend to think of more than two. But the point that I'm making is like, I don't have the time or the energy because I have shit that I have to do. You know? I can't just be like, yeah, let's go do this thing. Haha. No, it's like that thing is going to put me over the edge and I won't actually feel like I've recharged, you know? And that's not the kind of life you want to live, but unfortunately, it's the life that I have to live, you know? Especially considering that I need to be saving money and other stuff like that. So if I'm spending mad money to go do shit, it's like fucking like get out of here, you know? That's something that bothered me about my ex is that she couldn't hold down a job. But she always had to be driving 40 miles out of her way to go to Hull because one of her friends moved there, and it's like her one of her gal pals, you know. If you are dating a girl and she has more than one close friend, get the fuck out of there. She's not the kind of person you want to be around. And if she has that relationship with her close friend where she's like, no, but I have to see her every day. She's a little girl. She's not a woman. She's a little girl. You need to stop dating little ass girls, you know? You need to start dating women. And women don't have friends. I'm sorry to say. Men don't have friends. It's not to say that like you don't have people you hang around with, but like what I mean is if you have to see your boys every single day, that's a little boy trait. What do they come knock on your door, and when your wife comes to the door, they're like, hey Mrs. S, is Scott there? Can Scott come out to play? Like, no, fuck off, you know. I'm a man. I got shit I gotta do, you know. Like I can't always hang out. That's a problem if I can always hang out. That means I'm not using my time wisely, you know. And a lot of women, because women don't get pressured to grow up like men do. A woman at the age of 18 is pretty much the same as a woman at the age of like 40, you know? But like, it's a little girl trait to not be able to go without seeing your friends. To be like, oh yes, I have a boyfriend and it's getting very serious and I think we're gonna get married. And instead of it being like, okay, this is the guy now, like this is who I spend most of my time with. I don't always have time to hang out with my friends. I have to devote myself entirely to this dude. And because of that, like there's going to be plenty of time where we just hang out by ourselves. Instead of being that way, their answer is to just try and integrate their husband into their group of friends. It's like, no, that's not a woman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not a woman. That's a little ass girl, you know? Get away from her, because she will make your life harder on you. And she'll act like you're the problem when you're like, yo, it's time to grow up. You can't be jobless and still spend money on gas to go visit your friend for a completely elective reason. You don't get to do that, you know? And when you try and explain that to them, they're going to hate you. So because of that, like, don't even bother trying to explain it. There's no point in it, you know? They're going to hate you for it, you know? There's no reason to ever try and explain to a woman. Like, I make that mistake. I make that mistake a lot because, I mean, when it comes to my wife, like, I'm stuck with her. Not to say that in, like, I want to get rid of her, but, like, no, I don't want to get rid of my wife. I love my wife, but, like, if there's an issue with my wife, I can't be flighty about it. I can't be like, oh, wow, you're getting on my nerves. Peace. Like, I'm going home. I walk into the bedroom that we share. Like, that's not the way it works, you know? Don't call me. We're breaking up. Like, no, that's not how that works, you know? But, like, overall, if it's not your wife or something like that, you definitely, absolutely, positively need to never try to explain anything to a woman. You have to just be like, wow, she's stupid. Get her the fuck away from me. Get away. Don't fucking talk to me again. No, we're breaking up. Get out of my face, you know? Whoa, 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 whoa. I took both of them by mistake, you know? Yes, back here. I think you could just tie bags of sand to the back. Oh, talking about the thing. I saw tie bags of sand and I was like, geez, fucking gay guy watched a little too much Sopranos, huh? Thought he was talking about women and my wife and shit like that, you know? Oh, that's annoying. And like, I see Natalia saying LOL, like, no offense, Natalia, or Cherry Blossom for that matter. I know you are, I know you're some girls, alright? You're some girls, I get it, you know? But, yes, we got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we fucking got him. Go fuck yourself. Red. I'm just gonna be an asshole. I'm gonna be an asshole this one. But, like, no offense to any of the women here. You know, like, that's not... I don't mean it to be, like... Whoa, hey, what are you doing? Get over there. Damn, I fucked up. I'm not going to be able to drop a castle as quickly as I wanted to, but it's going to be alright. What was I saying? Like, no offense to any of the women that are here, you know? Like, I don't mean to, like, talk down to you or about you or anything like that, but, like... You have to ask yourself, when's the last time a man came to you and was like, hey, baby, you know I love you, but I don't like this thing about you. I would appreciate it if you would stop doing that. And you didn't react in some kind of vitriolic way. When's the last time a man tried to talk something out with you and you did not react negatively, you know? Women are just not good with that. It's just the way that it is, you know? I just didn't have that experience of having friend groups like that and stuff. I had to move out at 16 and work. Yeah. I mean, women don't like each other. Women don't care about each other. You know, it's been proven that like they sabotage the fuck out of each other all the time. That's just the way that it's the way it is, the way it be. You know, the way it do. And like if she's got a big friend group, one of two things is going to happen. Either one, they're going to try and sabotage her, or two, they're going to be like, because they have issues with men, because they hate men, they're going to be like, girl, he doesn't treat you good enough. Girl, if he hurts you, I'm going to hurt him. You know that? Yeah. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Oh, man. Some women get super defensive really fast. Yeah, and there's reasons for that, you know? You know, like, men are taught that they're meant to be subservient to women, and that's how you get a woman. That's not the reality, though, you know? Women don't like pushovers. They don't like, you know, it's true. Nice guys finish last. It's 1,000,000% true. I just remembered I have to 1, 2. I'll hit there. Whoa, where are you guys doing? Where are you guys going, huh? Hey, where you guys going, huh? Hey, oh, hey. But yeah, men are lied to about like how to get women and how women operate, you know? And if you're not careful, you will get hurt yourself. You will get burned yourself. That's just the reality. Yeah, you know, fuck it. Send this guy right here. Ooh. Might be a bit of a tough one. Where's, there's only 4 of them on this map. Oh, whatever, fuck it. Oh, no, it's gone. Okay. Let's see what's going on. You know, like, I'm kind of trying to lock in right now, but I want to continue talking about the whole gender thing. Like, shame has been completely and totally removed from the methods that we utilize to keep women in line. Just even the speech that I'm using right now, keep women in line. There's nothing wrong with having societal expectations and personal expectations of anybody who's around you, including women. It's a good thing. It's a way that you make sure that your needs are being taken care of and that you're not being abused or mistreated in some way, shape, or form. But we have completely and totally removed any expectation of proper or fair behavior and treatment from or by women. And because of that, we're now in a situation where any talk of that gets you labeled as an incel. Now, me personally, I don't really care how people think of me. That's why every now and again, I'm not afraid to have what could be considered kind of like a weird or like funny conversation, you know? Because it's like, whatever, who gives a fuck? I know what I mean. But like, that's just the way that it is a lot of the time. You know, is a lot of people will make those assumptions unfairly. No, you guys get your ass over there. You get your ass over there. But like, it's disgusting, and there's nothing wrong with being disgusted by it. There's nothing wrong with having a disgust, not gene, but response or feeling regarding that. You know, feelings of disgust. It's actually a good thing and it keeps you safe. Alright, we did it. We done did it. We done did it. Anyway, what I was saying is, like, there's nothing wrong with being disgusted by disgusting women. That doesn't make you gay. And that's the kind of manipulation, that's the kind of gaslighting that you're meant to believe about having that disgust sort of reaction, you know? I find things women do disgusting quite often, actually. You know, if there's one thing I can't stand, it's women who twerk. I don't think twerking is good. I think it's disgusting. And then it only escalates from there. I don't want to get too deep into it or anything like that. But and it's not just the behavior. It's literally that it makes the woman absolutely positively gross on every single level that you could even imagine. But if you make it known that you don't find that to be attractive or sexy or anything like that, people are like, "Oh yeah, I mean, if you like boys, just say so." And it's like, dude, shut the fuck up, you know? The world is going to continue to get worse until we can look at women and say, wow, you're gross. You're fucking disgusting. Just because you're doing something that's sexual in nature doesn't mean that it's good. It doesn't mean you deserve applause, and doesn't mean that it's actually sexy. Everything's sexual today. Nothing's fucking sexy anymore. Everything sucks. Everyone sucks, you know? And it's like, I'm not a Sydney Sweeney simp, a triple S, a Sweeney simp. I'm not one of those, but I actually have come around to appreciating her, right? I didn't think she was that attractive. I still don't think she's the most attractive girl that I've ever seen. And I'm not buying the whole, whoa, based and red pilled, wearing a low cut top thing. Women have been doing so much more sexualized clothing and other shit like that for fucking decades at this point. Her wearing a low cut top isn't, whoa, based and red pilled, she's embracing her femininity. No, it's not. It's just not. It's simply not. But I can appreciate that there's an actually feminine woman who has a very appealing sort of attitude and way of presenting herself. She's not completely hostile. She's not repellent. She seems like a lady to a certain degree. And I like that. And there was comparisons between her and Sabrina Carpenter, somebody who I don't know anything about because I'm not a Zoomer female. But when I look at someone like Sabrina Carpenter, she dresses like she's dressing for the girls. And what I mean by that is, it's not about what is actually appealing. It's not about what's actually sexy, what's actually feminine. It's about signaling to other women. And that's something that, like, those long fingernails and shit like that. Like, this is one of the few times where when a girl says she's dressing a certain way, she's doing it for other women, that you can actually believe it. When she's wearing a low-cut top, when she's wearing pants or shorts or whatever that are really very, very, very revealing, they show off the ass a ton, she's not dressing for the girls. But when she's wearing those long ass fucking fingernails, what it is a signal to other women. It is something that women are supposed to look at and be like, "Oh, slay queen." That's what it is. It's a beacon. It's a buoy almost, right? It's a lighthouse. It attracts the eye, and other women are supposed to be like, "Girl, slay." That's a type of shit that Sabrina Carpenter is given to, just looking at her. Never having listened to any music of hers. I don't know if she acts, but if she does, after never having seen her in anything, after never having seen an interview of hers or even a social media post. Never having seen anything like that, right? Just looking at her, I can tell you her problem is that she's for the girls, and that's a bad thing because women are not supposed to be for each other, just like guys are not supposed to be for each other. Fucking women are not supposed to be for each other. They're not supposed to have their own ecosystem. They're not supposed to have their own parallel means of judging each other. They're not meant to have that. When women's lives become so comfortable that they can develop a parallel criteria by which to judge each other, that means that women are going to fuck your society up. That's what that means. Women are about to start fucking everything up for you. And you need to curtail that in whatever way you can. And Sabrina Carpenter is a perfect example of that kind of thing. She is a 10 on that parallel system of judgment that women have created over the last however many decades of comfort that has been provided for them by men. And you absolutely positively need to look at a woman like that and go, wow, you are awful. Get out of my face. You disgust me. Don't ever come near me. You are a freak loser, and I don't want to ever have to deal with you. You are that bad of a person. It's not just I personally am like, oh, you know, I'm like, you're not my cup of tea. No, you are an objectively bad person. You are bad. You are a piece of shit. You do not belong around people. Please stay away from me and stay away from people until you can change your attitude and your behavior. That's the attitude. That's the reaction. I'm not saying outward reaction, but the inward reaction that you should have towards people like that, towards women like that. Because as long as they're going to sit there and continue to develop those, again, alternative modes and means of judging each other and hating men the entire time that they do it, life is just going to continue to get worse. It's just going to continue to get even more horrible than it already has become. And people like Sabrina Carpenter are exactly to blame for that. People like Beyonce are exactly to blame for that. People like Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, people like Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, all of them completely and totally to blame for that. Reading the synopsis for Euphoria is insane. Anti-twerking Scott, yeah. Anti-twerking action. The Gaped, says Jenga Malcolmist. Total Scott victory. I appreciate that. Girl slay, says Cherry Blossom. She was an actor on Disney, I think. Oh boy, let's. You know what? You know, I'm curious about this Sabrina Carpenter bitch. We'll play one more, but we're gonna quit for now, and we're gonna look into Sabrina Carpenter. I mean, just look at her, right? Fucking, she wakes up every morning, she puts her face on, you know. Um, she's not like Sydney Sweeney, even though they try to kind of give her the same little like thing that she's got going on. She's got the Sephora face, right? Everything that she wears is not designed for men to be like, oh, that's attractive, that's sexy. No, what she's doing is she's cosplaying like something that women like. She has this sort of like 1950s or 1960s girl thing going on, or maybe 1940s. She's got sort of a retro look, the way she does her hair, some of the ways that she dresses every now and again and stuff like that. She's got sort of like a retro Playboy bunny thing going on. And men are not into that kind of thing. They're not into that aesthetic. Women are into that aesthetic. They love, if you go to Tumblr, you see tons and tons of women who either repost this woman in and of herself, or they repost women who look like that, who have a similar aura or a similar way they dress, or they take similar photos and stuff like that. This is by women for women, and people wonder why men don't like that. It's insane. So Sabrina Ann Lynn Carpenter, born May 11th, 1999, is an American singer, songwriter, and actress. Excuse me. She first gained prominence starring in the Disney Channel series Girl Meets World from 2014 to 2017. Nobody watched that. That was a terrible fucking thing. That was a terrible idea that they had. She signed with the Disney-owned Hollywood Records and achieved limited success with studio albums Eyes Wide Open, Evolution, Singular Act 1, and Singular Act 2 in 2019. Carpenter joined Island Records in 2021, releasing her fifth album, Emails I Can't Send, in 2022, with the multi-platinum singles Nonsense and Feather. Her sixth studio album, Short and Sweet, topped the U.S. Billboard 200 and won 2 Grammy Awards. And you see, again, this is the type of thing, this is like a woman would take a picture of that and post it on Tumblr, and all the other women would go, girl, slay, slay queen. There is this weird economy of attention that women have within themselves, that you have a lot of women out there that capitalize on it. They capitalize on that female-centered and female-exclusive, and, you know, there's some gay guys thrown in there, but that female-centered and mostly exclusive economy of attention and economy of energy that when they capitalize on it, they create careers for themselves, basically just harvesting that over and over and over and over and over again. And all of a sudden they become the girl singer for the girls, as opposed to anything like worthwhile in the eyes of the greater world, which includes men in it. Oh, gee, what a surprise. And because of that, a woman like this is just, she's a cancer on the world, is what she is. And she is not good. She's not even close to it. And she is objectively a bad person. That's just what she is. But it topped the Billboard 200. It won 2 Grammy Awards. It produced the global #1 singles Espresso and Please, Please, Please. The latter becoming the first to top the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. Her 7th studio album, Man's Best Friend, also topped in the Billboard 200, spawning the #1 single, Man-Child. Oh, gee, I wonder what this one's about. I wonder what this one could be about. Man-Child is a song by American singer Sabrina Carpenter and the lead single from her 7th studio album, Man's Best Friend. She wrote and co-produced the song with Jack, some fucking dude. Gee, I wonder. Let's see here. Early life. New Jersey. I could be any of them. That could be either. He is the second of 3 children of Shira Wall and Rick Antonov. He is the younger brother of fashion designer Rachel Antonov. His younger sister Sarah died of brain cancer at the age of 13. That is horrible. That's terrible. I feel for him on that one. I'm just curious. Milford, New Jersey, attended elementary school. Solomon Schechter Day School. That is a Jewish school. We had a place. Look at that. Coeducational Jewish Day School. I was just curious what that guy's background was. But anyway, so Amy Allen, not even interested. I was just curious what this guy's background was, because it's interesting that a guy would be like, let's write a song called Man-Child. It was released June 5th, blah, 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 blah. The song was described as a country-infused pop, blah, 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 blah. Lyrically, Carpenter uses the song to criticize an ex-boyfriend, describing him as stupid, slow, useless, and incompetent. Well, you picked him, you fucking idiot. And of course, any woman, and it's not just that guy, though. It's men in general. And she's releasing this because she knows, again, in that parallel economy of attention that women have created for themselves, they're going to take that, they're going to circulate it, and it's going to become a big fucking thing. And now whenever a woman wants to make a point, she's going to be posting on Twitter, or she's going to be using the song on TikTok or Facebook, if it's a girl that still uses Facebook. Literally, that happened to me. There was I think it was like a Dua Lipa song or something like that. It was like this song about breakups and stuff like that. I remember it was like, "One, don't let him in." Like, it went something like that. I remember I'm fucking sitting with the girl that I thought I was gonna marry. We're like at the end of the rope. We're like about to break up. Like a month later, we would like not be talking anymore, and we're just chilling at her house. Right? I'm trying to see if I can still make it work with her, and she puts on that fucking song about like breakups, and I know it was a dig. I'm sitting here watching this like, wow, that's fucking gay. She really this is her move. Is this her big move? What's she trying to do here? This fucking idiot. And guess what? We fucked after. We listened to the song, and she sat there like, yeah, I'm getting him with this one. And I was inside her after that. Gee. Fucking anyway, like you have again, like early life. Born dumbass name, May 11th, 1999, Quakertown, Pennsylvania, to David and Elizabeth Nee Schneider. Hmm. Hmm. Carpenter and raised in East Greenville. She has three older sisters and was homeschooled. The four are nieces of actress Nancy Cartwright, as their father is her stepbrother. Carpenter began studying voice at the age of 6. Around the age of 10, she began posting videos on YouTube of herself singing Christina Aguilera and Adele songs. Her father built a recording studio for her to fuel her passion for music. I'm just curious if there's anything else, right? This is her. I don't know how old. Yeah, she would have been 17 here. She actually kind of looks a little bit normal here, you know? Again, like she probably would have been around 18 or 19 here. Still kind of looks a little normal before she started having to paint her face on every single day. And then here, bang, 2022. Here we go. I'm just let's see here. Songwritings, right? Uh, Carpenter has co-written most of her songs with sole lyricist credits for 2 tracks on Emails I Can't Send. She has stated in interviews that she is the main songwriter on her songs. She preferred songwrite. I want to see, right? Because I want to see the songwriting, right? It says artistry. There's influences and there's songwriting. I want to see. Oh, excuse me. Oh man. Um, like we're just doing this. I didn't know exactly what I was gonna find here. I just wanted to see what was here. I wanted to see if there was any man hate bullshit here, you know. And of course, we found a little bit of it with the whole man child thing. You know, that's one of their big things that they love to do. What the fuck? That's one of their big things that they love to do is call men man child. And again, this is one of those things where like they have a method of shaming men. You need the same kind of method to shame women. When you see a woman who's like this, you got to be able to be like, yo, if you're a lesbian, just say so. It's all good. I don't care. It ain't that big of a deal to me. You know, you got to be able to, you got to call her a leg beard. You got to call her a woman child or something like that. You got to call her a like something that's going to cut her to the core, you know? Because if you just call her a harlot or whatever, she's going to be like, yeah, I am. And I'm proud. You know? Piggy poop balls is the greatest thing to happen to humanity since what the fuck, Tank Hill. Um, I've never listened to a single song from this bitch. Gay guy says, has anybody? To replying to smart moron, yeah, neither have I. You know, I'm simply not interested. Assumed you would be gone by now. I'm back. What's going on, Neon? We're complaining about Sabrina Carpenter here. I've heard a snippet of her song because Wendigoon, I think on his second channel, he put a video. Somebody saw him. On his second channel, he put out a video where he was talking about the wife's home. On his second on his second channel, I'm pretty sure it was, he put out a video asking if there was pay to play going on Spotify. I'll see if I can pull the video up because it's actually an interesting video. Wendy Goon, Sabrina Carpenter. Yes, it was here. The Mafia, Sabrina Carpenter, and Spotify Conspiracy on Wendy Gang. Not that he needs my help. Not that he needs my help, of course. But it is a good video, and I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. I would recommend you watch it too, because it talks about something that you don't typically hear about. You know, the music industry is fucked. It's always been fucked. You know, any major industry that you think you might want to be a part of, it's fucked. You know, the mafia used to own boxing. The mafia used to own music, and even though the mafia doesn't own those things anymore, even though it's not a big thing like it used to be, it is what is it? There's somebody. There's somebody there who's like, hey, why don't you play this record here? Why don't hey? There's a new song by this chick Sabrina Carpenter. Why don't you play that? Why don't you put it into a bunch of playlists, and why don't you recommend it to people? And you know, maybe you'll get a nice little reward there. I'll give you a shekel or two. Like you still have that, even in all of those same industries too. That's the fucked up thing. There's not a single one of them that's clean. It's gross. Um, close close the browser tabs quick. Why? Because of why? Because of the I thought you were saying because of this browser tab. It says to boof or not to boof. I'm on this subreddit here that we were taking a look at, but you were joking because the wife is home. Did you grab dinner, or were we gonna grab it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, give me like 5 minutes and I'll be out. Is everything okay? She seems annoyed. Maybe her mom was getting on her nerves or something like that. It could never be me. I'm never annoying. I'm never annoying. But yeah, it's been 3 hours. That was a good Saturday stream. That was a good Saturday stream. It's only 8 p.m. You know, one of the things I've been a little bit upset about is I've been getting ready to finish off my first Morrowind playthrough, and I haven't been able to do that because my streams and then the Sopranos, I just haven't been feeling like playing a ton. But I'm at the point where I'm trying to finish off the Temple quest line. Not the Temple quest line, excuse me, the Imperial Cult quest line. And then I'm probably gonna fight Dagoth Ur. And then I'll move on to whatever game I'm gonna move on to next. I don't have a game I'm gonna play next. It's like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do? Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh fuck, what am I gonna do? Oh shit, fuck. Oh no, oh fuck. Oh shit, fuck. Fuck, what am I gonna do? I just sit here for the last 5 minutes like, oh no, oh fuck, oh, um, yes, you figured it out. Good job, Scott. You figured it out. Fantastic. You did great. Good job. How attractive is Sabrina Carpenter in your opinion? She's not wholly unattractive. There are definitely good pieces of her. She could be very, very attractive to me, but she's not, because, like I said, she is not for me. She is for the girls. And everything she does is for the girls. Guys are not attracted to Sephora face. They're not attracted to all of this makeup. They're not attracted to hair that looks like this all the time. You know, my wife has naturally curly hair. I like her naturally curly hair. But this is not naturally curly hair. This is like teased hair to make it more voluminous. It looks messy and unkempt and gross. This getup is not, it doesn't look good on her. The whole collar thing, like she's trying to look like a Playboy bunny. Like I said, that's something that girls do because they have created an alternative system, an alternative criteria to judge themselves by. And one of those criterias are, do you look like a Playboy bunny? That's cute, that's hot, that's sexy. You slay, you go girl, right? Um like here, right? 2014. Obviously she's underage. I'm not like attracted to her, but you can see like she's not an ugly girl here. She's 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 pretty here. She looks nice here, right? Um she would grow up if she stayed looking like this. she would look really, really good. And here, she's a little bit older here. This is like she's 17 or 18 years old here, right? Not unattractive. She looks normal. She looks like she's actually trying to look nice. And I appreciate that. Here, she's like 18, 19, right? I did the math. She was born in 99. This is 2018. So she would have been like 19 maybe here. She doesn't look bad. I don't find this in and of itself to be completely and totally attractive, but she doesn't look terrible here. She doesn't look awful. And then, bang. You see what I'm talking about? The lips, the makeup, the hair. It's just again, trying to look like a Playboy bunny, trying to look like retro Playboy bunny. Just gross. It's like you know when the bones of a house are no, don't ask Scott religious questions. He's getting mad at women. Yeah, don't fucking distract me. Um but like um when the bones of a house, when the frame of a house, when the foundation of a house is good, but the walls, the actual walls are made with like cow shit. That's what it looks like. The bones are good. The foundation for a very attractive young woman is there. But what she decided to put on as siding, the siding that was put on, the trim around the windows, the roof is fucking sticks and twigs and leaves and dung, animal dung, is what I see, what I think of when I see Sabrina Carpenter, you know. But anyway, do you foresee a resurgence? Just watch, just watched a good friend of mine be baptized in the river into the Orthodox Church, and another friend of mine joined RCIA. I don't know what RCIA. In the local Catholic Church. I've actually never heard of RCIA. I'm curious about what that is. Roman Catholic something something. Christ seems to be working in many young men. Do you foresee this resurgence happening more often in the future, Scott? I think it probably could. I think it could. I think it could, and it probably will. I think that's going to be one of the answers to the issues is people embracing traditional Christianity. You know, even Protestant like churches and stuff like that. You're going to see ones that are a little bit more serious. You know, you're not going to see the strip mall evangelical guy who he named his church like some kind of like trendy fucking thing or something like that. You know, you're not going to see the dude who shows up to church wearing like a polo and hey dudes and stuff like that. You know, you're not going to see that make a resurgence. That'll probably die off. What you'll see is more traditional forms of Christianity. Not that I 100% acknowledge the Orthodox or any Protestant sect as valid. They're not. They're just not. Like there's nothing I can say that's like, well, you know, they have their own take on things. You know, I think it's interesting, and they you know they get some things right. No, like they're wrong. You know, even if they get things right, they're still doing it wrong. You know, but like I would still rather see people be Orthodox or Protestant if they're not going to be Roman Catholic than see them be like pagan or atheist or some kind of progressive Christianity, you know, fuck all that other shit. It's like I said when I was beefing with Jay Dyer. Like I would rather live in an as a Catholic, I would rather live in an Orthodox society than a Muslim or a Jewish or a progressive Christian or an atheist society or a Hindu society, especially a Hindu society. I would rather live in a hardcore Protestant society, you know, kind of puritanical. I would rather live in a society like that than live in any of those other societies, you know? Just culturally. If I couldn't have what I wanted, I would be happier in one of those societies than any other kind of society, you know? Um, but yeah, so there's that. Um, I'll read maybe one or two more. You should have another Jay Dyer debate, Scott. I would talk with Jay again as long as he wasn't being a bitch. Genuinely, like I've noticed, I think the argument that he and I got into was it hit the algorithm again maybe a little bit more, or maybe it got shared somewhere, because I'm noticing more people are hitting me up on Twitter about it again. And then in my comment section on YouTube, people are finding random videos from 5 years. I haven't been on YouTube for 5 years, but like a year or two ago, just looking for those, trying to pick those videos specifically, hoping that I'm not going to notice that they left a comment on there, because that's the type of person that Jay is, and that's the type of person that is attracted to Jay, is that little sneak bullshit. And that's why I don't respect the guy, and that's why I don't like him, and that's why to this day I still when I fucking hear his name, because I don't care that he works with my boy. He's no boy of mine right now. And I was sitting here after the Charlie Kirk thing thinking, you know what? Maybe I should back off the guy, and maybe I should back off his supporters. Now's the time for unity among right wingers, even if I don't like the guy. But no, his fucking people started coming at me again. So fuck them and fuck him. You know? But anyway, like that's why I still spit when I hear the dude's name or when I think about him. Because fucking it's like that type of weird bullshit that only somebody who is like Talmud levels, Talmud levels of trying to mess with you. The only person who would do something like that is someone who's like read the Talmud and is like, oh, you know, some pretty good points. It's like, fuck, man. Jay Dyer is Talmudic. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here, folks. No, but like jokes about that aside, like that is like Talmudic. The level of like, we're gonna fuck with this guy and we're gonna hit him where it hurts, and it's gonna be a total war. Like Hitler has one testicle tears of like trying to mess with somebody. Like you can't just leave the guy alone on anything. You got to go back into his catalog and find a video of his that is not in the algorithm anymore. He has not even thought about it in at least 6 or more months, and you have to comment on that one specifically, hoping that it's going to stay there, so that if anybody else did happen upon it, they're going to go into the comment section, they're going to be like, oh, he debated Jay Dyer? Oh, and he lost? This guy sucks. I didn't even know him. He sucks, though. Like, fuck that and fuck him, you know? But if Jay ever had the backbone, if Jay ever had the moral fiber to unblock me and be like, hey, why don't we try and hash out our issues? Why don't we try and hash out that thing we had back on Easter Sunday when you had your opinion and I had my opinion and it went sideways on us? Why don't we try and hash that out? I'd be like, yeah, sure, we can. And we could do it right there in the DM. It doesn't have to be on a stream. We can just talk about it in the DM. Nobody has to show ass. You know, nobody has to apologize to the other in a way where everybody's going to see it. We can just do that, and it's all good. The door is always open for forgiveness. Just like with Christ, I'm always willing to forgive somebody, even if it means that I can't fucking be around them. I could be around Jay Dyer again if he apologized, and I'd apologize for the things I said and did too, and we could move on. And as long as he's not going to do any of that shit that I said really made me lose respect for him, then fine, it's all good. Who cares, you know? What was I gonna say? But yeah, um, it is what it is, you know? It is what it is. And that's one of the reasons why I think the dude's wrong. And not just wrong, but wrong about everything, including his doctrine, is because he clearly doesn't understand what it is to be forgiving and to be charitable towards somebody who you don't 100% agree with, you know? But anyway, if you debate Jay again, you need to play up the steroids bit. What? Um, could have just made the gorilla nest. I never watched that, but you know, I mean, Sam is known for doing shit like that. You know, Sam is known for like fucking with people on their podcasts. So it's not surprising to me that he would do something like that. I don't see why that was ever such a big deal in the first place, you know, but hey, it is what it is. Um, but anyway, they see a guy with MMA in his name speaking loudly and start using the word steroids. Yeah, I mean it doesn't help that I have a deep voice and I'm balding. Those are two signs of steroid use. Is a voice that's deep like mine, but usually it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. It's more gravelly and stuff like that. You know, like Macho Man, like oh yeah, you know that type of shit. But then also, like I said, I'm balding, so like whenever somebody who doesn't know me sees me and I tell them I'm 30 years old, they're like, "You don't do steroids, do you?" Because they assume that it's like pre-aging from steroids. I think I'm probably just naturally higher T. I'm not saying higher T than anybody necessarily. I'm just saying I'm probably just naturally high T, you know? And because of that, I've always had that deep voice. And I've had my voice has been basically like this since the 5th grade. I remember people making fun of me saying I sound like a caveman. You know, I was a bit of an early bloomer with the whole voice thing. Um, you know, and hey, it is what it is, you know. I can't complain. I can't complain, you know? It's like that F is for family thing. There was like one of the first episodes of F is for Family. There's the guy at the TV thing, the TV store, and he's talking to a girl and he's like, "Yeah, you know, I wanted to serve my country, but you know, they said I couldn't cuz my dick was too big." You know, I mean, I don't want to complain, but like, you know, I wanted to go over there and fight. It was during Vietnam, you know. Um that's what it is. Like, you know, hey, you know, I don't want to complain. But yeah, what was I gonna say? That's a glimpse into how soyish his audience is. 100%, you know. Okay. The Jay Dyer shit was hilarious because all his fans were all like, "This guy's on steroids, roid rage." Like my brother in Christ. Have you seen someone who actually takes steroids? Yeah, yeah. They're usually not fat like I am, you know. And the rage is incoherent. I was making my point the entire time. I just wasn't allowing. I just didn't allow him to get away with things that I did not think were true. I wasn't gonna let him be like, actually, I've converted over 1,000 people. It's like, no, you fucking haven't. You fucking liar. You're a bullshitter. You're a fucking liar. No, you haven't. And I called him out on that. I said, nah, I think you're bullshitting. Maybe a few hundred people, not 1,000, not over 1,000. No fucking way. Get out of here. You know. Um, but like because I called him out right away, and then I also didn't allow him to interrupt me. They wanted to make it into a thing where like I'm stupid and I take steroids and all this stuff. And it's like, no, I'm just not gonna let a bullshit artist fucking get comfortable. You know? I'm not gonna allow a bullshit artist to get comfortable enough to bullshit. I don't care if I lose the debate. I said what I wanted to say. And he got so mad he blocked me, told me he was gonna block me, and then he kicked me off the fucking stream. So, you know, there it is. Hold on. Sabrina Carpenter X Scott collab. It's coming down the pipe. Don't worry. Don't worry. I hate stand-up comedians in general. Bill Burr and Brendan Schaub are the same to me. Yeah. Kinda. You know. Oh, excuse me. Then basically tried to choke him out. Really? Damn, that's crazy. I want to see that now. Um, I like the short Sam made with Harland where he ashes his cig and his coke and just slaps it out of his hand. I got to see that too. My buddy has an actual roid rage story. It makes me nervous just to hear it get told. LOL, roid rage is crazy. Yeah, and that's why I don't ever want to take steroids because truth be told, like if I do lose control, it can get pretty bad. And I don't want to be on anything that might make me lose control in a more crazy, uncontrollable way, you know? When I lose control, I can at least kind of pull myself back together a lot of the time before I do or say something that's like I can't take back. Excuse me. But the last thing I want is to do something where it's gonna give me a worse rage and stuff like that, you know? Um ICE arresting every protester is pretty funny. If you were around in 2018, it's really Neon. You're gonna have to send me shit like that. You're gonna have to send me video of that. I gotta get out of here in a second. Like really, like my dinner's getting cold and soggy. My wife is waiting to eat with me, so I'm kind of being a bastard right now, making her wait. But I'll read like one or two more comments and then I'll head on out. I'll head on out. We're not even 100 miles from any border. Bullshit artist, what is this? The Greasy Strangler? I am the Greasy Strangler. Imagine thinking being in a country illegally is excusable if you're far from the border. Yeah, that's funny. Jay Dyer's got only child syndrome. Yeah, he does. He definitely does. It wouldn't surprise me. He thinks he's the smartest in the room at all times. He thinks you need him. He thinks you want him. And he thinks his point of view is the only one that matters, and I understand when it comes to questions of theology, there is one right way. And it is important to figure that out, but not on Easter, bro. I think the important thing is to appreciate Christ's sacrifice on the cross. I think that's the most important thing on Easter. And that's part of the reason why I'm still so pissed off about it, is that he was using God's name and God's doctrine, God's word in a vain attempt to try and boost his own ego and boost his status in the eyes of people like him and people around him. And that is sinful, and he needs to repent. He needs to, I don't know if Orthodox has confession. If they do, he needs to go to confession. He needs to make a serious act of contrition for that, because he was not doing what he thought he was. And I hope he figures that out. And I hope he makes the change. I really do. For his sake. Fuck what I think about the guy. Fuck how I feel about the guy. For his own sake, he needs to figure that shit out. And he needs to knock it off. But with that said, I think I'm going to head out. All right. I appreciate you guys. I will talk to you later. I will stream Wednesday most likely, but if I can get a stream in between tomorrow and Wednesday, I will, as you guys know. Thanks for popping in. All right. And I will talk to you guys later. All right. Peace out.